Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another edition of this week's Get Off the Damn Fence. That's right, we're back for the podcast talking all the latest in sports and entertainment. And I'm joined as I am each and every week by co-host Calvin Thomas, Justin B.A. the Barber Harris. Gentlemen, how y'all doing tonight?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Can you hear me okay? I ain't got my headphones on. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we hear you. You sound good. Sound good. Calvin, how, you looking pretty festive tonight. Tell the people what you're sporting.
It's opening day, opening weekend, so it's a little Baltimore Hawaiian shirt. Boys are back in town. O's back at the yard, so you feel a little festive tonight. So I had to bring a little flair.
Okay, yeah. I will be heading down to the yard tomorrow night for opening night. First time since 2017. I am elated. And again, if you don't know why I stopped going or supporting or watching, I haven't watched a baseball game until this past Friday. No, Thursday, I watched the opening day game up in Toronto, and I was like enthralled. And then, I just was studying very hard leading up to it to learn the different players, and then seeing the Cedric Mullins and look, I'm a fan, man. I'm really enjoying what I've seen so far. We'll get into that a little bit later in the show, but baseball's back and it's fun. But we need to start on a couple of topics that have really been interesting this first week. You know what? I can't disrespect the O's like that. Let's start with some baseball tonight. Let's just kick it off. The Baltimore Orioles returned on Thursday, but opening day here at the yard was on Monday afternoon, and the Orioles got a big victory over the Boston Red Sox. They started the season 2-2 split with the Toronto Blue Jays over the weekend. A mixed bag. They look good at times. Other things still a work in progress. On the for sure. On the screen you see here, of course, is the Orioles 26-man roster. Now, of course, injuries happen a lot in baseball already. Starting off the season without your best player, Gunnar Henderson on IR to start the season. So you don't see the team fully intact, but I went back and looked at some of the best players of 2024, was doing my hard studying, and I was like, I text you all and I said, I'm kind of confused. Why would they let this guy Santana? What's his name?
Santana.
Yeah, this guy was all over the place on them highlights. Everything I'm saying, he hitting this, hitting that. He made a couple good plays in the field. And Calvin said his defense wasn't that good. I mean, I've been looking at who we got out there and left and right field right now, and I wasn't overly impressed. So I mean, could he been that bad? I don't know, but anyway, like you say, Calvin made it clear that our hitting should still be good. I like Adley Rutschman. He looks good. He's could hit the ball with power. Cedric Mullins is a Swiss Army knife. Seems like every time I look up, you get a hit, a single, a double, something. Driving in runs, got good speed. I really like him. Westberg looked good. Holiday, young but active. I like a couple plays he's done. Mountcastle, consistent. I like him as well. I mean, I'm enjoying this team already, man. I feel like just diving right back in. I mean, I've been a baseball fan my whole life, so of course, learning lineups ain't hard. Learning names and retaining that information, I feel like I can. Causa. Now he went down. I think he's hurt. Is he out for a little while?
They said a couple. I saw a couple weeks. Do you see something different, Justin?
Okay.
I saw a couple weeks.
Okay, but Tyler O'Neill, not bad, not terrible.
Mr. Opening Day.
Yeah. Had a homer. Yeah, like I think they said his 6th straight opening day with a home run or something like that.
It's a record.
Phenomenal, man. So anyway, as a guy diving right back in, they got me hook, line, and sinker. I'm enjoying what I've seen so far. Justin, to kick off the season, what have you seen? What did you think about the Toronto series with the Orioles heading up north and getting a split?
Well, first and foremost, I'm looking at Jackson Holiday coming off his rookie campaign. I want to see what adjustments you made from then to now. One, he definitely added some muscle. So that's definitely good to see. Two, he changed his swing. He used to do a high knee high knee plant and then swing.
Mm.
But he was striking out a lot as well. So that might mess up your vision. That might, your body, you only got like a blink of an eye to judge the pitch and then to do a appropriate swing. So the more body movements you do, the more it interferes with that. So he just does a simple toe tap now. And he already got a home run in the Toronto series. So that's definitely looking better for him. And just all around, Felix Bautista is back. We got a closer, like a real closer. So that's definitely helpful on the
Not
pitch.
to cut you off, but I've seen him in 2 outings so far, giving up a couple doubles down the left rail. What is his reputation? Is he like a big strikeout guy, or is he just a solid, closer? What's his reputation?
I say he was all the above.
Okay.
Then he got hurt, so he's definitely battling his way back from injury.
Tommy John.
Yeah. So give him a little time, but he's definitely better than what we had last year.
Okay.
So that's already a plus. So that's just like I said. I'm on rookie watch. I'm on last year's rookie watch. I'm looking at Kyles. I know he just got banged up. Kerstad had a couple RBIs and things like that. So he's producing well. So yeah, we just trying to make sure the young players are still developing, especially taking this opportunity while Gunnar is in AAA.
Yeah. Okay. Follow-up question. What about the pitching? Anything surprise you? Anybody look like they could be a because I wasn't overly impressed by some of what I saw. So I'm reading too much into it. Are we more of a team that goes by committee? Do our aces go deep? What's your thoughts on that?
We definitely got to bring our bats. Let's say that. I think people have been averaging, I'll say about 4 to 5 runs against us. We just been outdoing them offensively, and you can't bank on that. But when Felix gets into his groove, we can definitely close out games. So we just gotta wade the waters until we get into the 8th and 9th innings or when it comes to that. We missing our main guy, Grayson Rodriguez. He's hurt, so hopefully that's not a half of the season type of a thing. We'll see when he comes back. We picked up people. We picked up a 35-year-old Japanese dude, Sagano.
Yeah, Sagano.
He didn't do bad. He held him to 2 runs. This is his first time here, trying to play American ball. So we gotta rock out with it.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on Charlie Morton? I wasn't impressed with that outing.
The only problem I got with the pitching is the Gano is used to pitching every 6 days, so I think that's why they try to get Suarez in there, and then he gets hurt. So now you kind of got to figure out, you're going to pitch him every 5 days, but they do have an off day. I think they're off today. They have an off day next Thursday, I think. So they kind of have some off days split in between where you can kind of get your rotation back in order until you get Suarez back. With Grayson, this is the same thing that happened to Garrett Cole in New York, and he needed Tommy John. So it's kind of like, do you want to bring him back, risk the injury and get it over with, or do you rest him and hope that the injury gets better? But the longer you rest him, if he gets hurt, he misses more of next season. But I do think they're going to make a pitching move because you still got Kobe Mayo in AAA, who was disappointed he didn't make the major league roster. You still have Basayo, the catcher. They say he's a better hitter than Adley. Like, they say Adley's a better catcher, but he's a better hitter. You still got him down there. I think he'll be up at some point this year, and that'll be a catching rotation. You'll always have one of them DHing. So you have hitters on the way. The only thing I don't like about the Orioles team, you still have this platoon of outfielders where you don't have Kerstad playing every day. I understand why you signed O'Neill because you wanted the power from losing Santander, but you got Mullins, you got Cowser, and you got O'Neill, and you have Kirsten on the bench just playing this rotation piece. He needs consistent at bats just so we can know what he is. He's been injured. He hasn't had the opportunity, but he was a guy 2 years ago when you made the playoffs. He was on your roster, on your playoff roster. So that says a lot for a young guy. He was up ahead of Holiday. So we got to give him some consistent at bats and let him see what he could do and let him know, see if he's going to be here or he's going to be used to get somebody else, most likely on that pitching staff. That's my only complaint so far.
Okay. So as far as this Boston Red Sox series, and I'm still learning. What was Boston last year? Are they a good team? Or
they were rebuilding last year. They got a problem with is it Devers at third base? Whoever the third baseman is pissed that he basically isn't playing third base because they signed a better guy. So he's like 0 for 16. So it's good that we catch him now because they did get some talent. They have some better pitch staff as well. So if they can solve that issue, which will probably mean he's gone, they'll be a team to contend with. I think the East is wide open. Like you can see any of Yankees, Red Sox, or Orioles winning. At least that's how it was going into the season before like Garrett Cole got injured, before the torpedo bats, before all that stuff. So,
oh yeah, torpedo bats. Talk on that. Yeah. So what's the story there? How many teams are using it? Is it just primarily the Yankees?
It's just the Yankees right now.
But no, it's more hitters because like if you look on like I think it's like DraftKings, they actually had listed guys that use the bats. So that as a prop for home runs. Yeah. I know like Manny was trying to get one out in San Diego. I know somebody in St. Louis got one. It's starting to make its way throughout the league. So it's a list of guys that are using them right now outside of New York.
So why isn't it illegal? Is it a cork?
It's still no, they're basically saying it's the weight or the weight is more distributed to the middle part of the bat. So if you make good contact, it's more likely to be a home run instead of it being kind of evenly distributed.
Like
it's centered in a specific point. Yeah. But they said it's not illegal. They said it's not illegal yet.
I mean, that's exactly almost like what a cork bat is.
Keyword being yet.
It's slightly wider than an average bat. To make up for that, I mean, it ain't a cricket bat. Let's call it what it is, but it's definitely not the same shape as the regular overall bat. So, I mean, you're giving hitters just that much more lift to hit the ball. I mean, that's all they really need. This is going to be like an end of the season kind of a statistic, so we can definitely keep track on it throughout the whole entire year. But if you remove Aaron Judge, because he still uses regular bat, he said, "Why should I change when I'm pretty much the best hitter in baseball?"
Google me.
So you remove his 4 home runs. Yankees have like 13 home runs as a team. That's still like right, but that's one below the Dodgers that have it. That's like 14, and then we're like 10.
But
we got like
the
10
Dodgers played 2 more games though. That's the only difference because they played.
Just with that being said, they're still cracking. They're killing the ball. They're better than everybody else. So if that continues, either we're going to do one or two options. Either we're just going to keep talking bad about it, or if it's legal, going on throw that clear on the shoulder.
Yeah, but I was saying you can't.
The clear and the cream.
So we'll track that as it goes. But overall, I enjoyed the opening weekend of baseball. Again, I'll have a full report next week of my experience down at the Yard Hell. If I enjoy it, I might go back for another game. But that was fun. It should be fun. And I also love the YouTube packages with all the highlights from the games. Excellent. Helps you really catch up on a lot of baseball as well. So fun stuff. But let's get into some basketball before, because it is that time. We're doing our list. So get your list out. And just a reminder, last week we went over Generation X and put those people in order. Calvin had Kobe at number 1 for him. Justin had Shaq at number 1, and I had Tim Duncan. So we had a variety of opinions.
I guarantee you it will be number 1.
I was like, unlike the millennials, millennials, we all had LeBron at number 1. Gen Z, I think we all had somebody different. And Gen X was all over the place. But baby boomers, I don't think we'll have that issue.
Surprise.
Yeah, so let's get into that list. And again, we're doing our tier system. So if you want to do it, follow along and do your own, feel free. It's fun. Just you and your friends, put together a little list, and it's a healthy debate. Join us along. But follow along. Calvin, as always, let's start with you. Who is number 15 on your list if you had to go in order?
Dominique Wilkins.
All right.
He had a good career. He never made our second round. He's more of a power dunker. I'm trying to remember any impactful plays he had in the playoffs. I'm big on that's one of my keys. But I just think he had a mediocre career. He was just a human highlight film, and you can remember his dunks. besides that, there's not much more I remember. I remember him losing in Chicago Stadium to Jordan. I remember him coming up number 2 to Jordan a lot. I remember him coming up number 2 to Bird a lot. That was the story of the 80s, in my opinion, with Dominique Wilkins. Not saying he wasn't a great player, but of these 15, I have him 15. So do with that what you say.
I ain't mad at you. What you got, Justin?
You know, in all due respect, the person just didn't have an all-star caliber teammates around him. He had one of the smallest point guards of all time. He had Kevin Willis that wasn't necessarily he was a good defensive guy, but he wasn't a good offensive guy. So I too have Dominique Wilkins as my 15th guy. With that being said, I want to shout out. I got a couple shout outs on my list. I actually did the list like real talk this time around. We're not gonna forget about Tim Hardaway, Mitch Richmond, Sean Kemp, Kevin Johnson, Mark Jackson, Rob Strickland. All these guys could have been viable for these necessarily top 15 spots, especially the bottom part of it. But we don't have pictures for none of those guys, and I don't necessarily want to put any one of those guys. Maybe Sean Kemp could have took this spot right here, but all those guys get love in this generation.
I mean, Kemp was a very good player, and he went to the finals. So I'll give him credit for that. The only problem I would say is I think Neek, like you say, because his teammates weren't at that level. I think, and it was a little bit before our time. Neek had some big years where he did his thing. He just didn't have those signature moments in the postseason. So I do agree with you. I do agree with you. I'm going with Neek there, but I think he's worthy of being on that 15 list because he was a superstar player of his time. He just wasn't a winner. If I had to pick number 14, and this is with no disrespect, all these guys are great. As we said before, anybody, if you make this list, you're a great player. Somebody got to be 14. And for me, great player, sensational player. I hate even doing this, but I'm going Clyde. Sensational player. No doubt. I'm not taking nothing away from him. But for me, that one finals appearance, sensational.
Yeah, too.
Well, he was with Houston, but he was a shell of himself then. Come on. I'm not giving him the same
He'll
credit.
give you 20 plus.
He was the reason they wanted the 6th seed.
You think he was the reason?
He was the reason they got to the finals, the 6th seed. They took off when they got him. That's all I'm saying.
I think I beg to differ.
For the second title.
I thought the combination of Sam with Kenny here and there, but I thought Sam was the catalyst for them really.
Well, I thought that was the first title, not the second title.
It was both.
Okay.
You thought Clyde was the catalyst for both?
No. Clyde only won one. I'm saying he's the one that gave them like a shot in the arm for that second title. That's what I'm saying. I thought he was more impactful than Sam for that second title. I'm not saying Sam was impactful for the first one. He was more impactful than Sam for the second one. That's all I'm saying. Again, and they had the tougher opponent as well when they played New York. So
again, given this list, he's a phenomenal player, no doubt about it. One of the best guards. But this, to me, I put him here for a reason. And I'm going to make it very clear why I put him here. Because if you look at the 90s, and this is, hear me when I say this, when you look at the shooting guard position, Michael Jordan is head and shoulders above everybody else for a reason. And the only person people tend to turn to and say could be even comparable to him for athleticism, for style of play, was Clyde. And Clyde was a 40, maybe 30% of Jordan. Like,
that's 30. That's
maybe 30. Maybe 35. Like, I'm sorry.
That's a lot more about Jordan, in my opinion, but
that's what I'm saying. He was head and shoulders above the pack. He didn't have no
more about his competition, but okay.
That's my point. Okay. Jordan had no competition at the shooting guard position in the 90s. And I stand by that. So Clyde goes at 14. No disrespect, Clyde, but you here to make a bigger point for me. That's what I got. Justin?
Yeah, I was just checking on something. He definitely went to the finals a couple times, more than just two. But
twice.
He went more than twice.
Where did he
go?
Check Portland. Portland went more than once.
They only
In the
went
early
once.
80s?
In the 80s, yep. If
He
I'm not
didn't. He only went once.
All right, my second. I'm gonna come back to that. Yeah, sorry, my bad. My second guy. That Clyde thing threw me off a lot. I really wasn't expecting him to be 14. Ooh, is this how y'all be when I be throwing stuff like that at you? Okay, never mind. All right.
I'm proving a point.
Next for me would be Kevin McHale.
Damn.
The second greatest power forward of all time.
He's not the second greatest power
For
forward.
many years, he was regarded as that. He was Tim before Tim in many people's eyes. But all right, it's your list. It's your list.
We got two guys that's above him in the same position.
It's your
so
list.
That's where we separate people.
I don't know if we got two of them.
Karl Malone and Charles Barkley are both better than Kevin McHale.
I don't know if we got two of them.
Understood. Kevin McHale is great. It's just I would love to have seen him solo a team.
But he played his position on his team.
He sure did, but everyone was worried about Bird. Even when Bird,
that's not true. Ask Chuck. Chuck used to say Kevin McHale was
I can care less about what
year
Chuck
he broke his foot.
Defense.
He was better than Bird on that team. The year he broke his foot,
right? I would love to see how he would portray himself in the finals, even when Bird didn't get Finals MVP. Cornbread Maxwell ended up getting the Finals MVP. It wasn't him. When you had the best defensive guy as a big, you had to worry about Chief. You had to worry about Robert Parrish. And then, if they couldn't worry about Robert Parrish, who you slide to? You slid over to Bird because Bird was 6'10", right? A lot of times, and he dominated. So, like I said, we're not hating on him. I'm not hating on him, man. He dominated at his position. When I say one of the best post games of all time, he has one of the best post games of all time. When I was coming up, I looked at Kevin McHale, some of his videos to learn a thing or two from a thing or two. So I respect game. It's just he had the luxury, and that's just what happens sometimes with this. He had the luxury of not necessarily having to be that guy. I got Bird on one side. I got Robert Parrish on the other side. If you get physical with me, Parrish is going to give you an elbow. So I didn't have to worry about that. And then if you had more skill, the skilled defender had to play Larry Bird. So he kind of slid it, in a nice range, and he took full advantage of it. Shout out to him. He is a Hall of Famer, no doubt. But 14.
It's tough for me. That's tough. Go ahead.
And you're right. I slighted Clyde one Finals appearance. I forgot they lost to Detroit. So you're right. They had 3. I'll take that back.
He lost twice. Okay.
He lost twice. Yeah. So for my 3, we all got shooting guard. Well, you got power forward. We got two shooting guards in power forward.
Reggie.
I got Reggie. Yeah.
Reggie.
I got Reggie.
You got Clyde better than Reggie. Reggie is an all-time.
Yes. And now I'll say this: while Reggie is one of the greatest shooters of all time, now he's probably like 5th. Now that's through no fault of his own. He's down there now, and I will say, history would have been better for Reggie if the whole Malice of the Palace did not go down, because that was probably his.
That was a great championship squad.
Yeah, that was his best chance to win a title, in my opinion.
Agree.
That 04 team. So history may have treated him a little bit differently had he won a title that year. But when you look at his career, he made the finals once. He was more known for his play in the Eastern Conference. He was a great player.
Phenomenal player. Not great.
He never got over the hump with his team. He never got his teammates over the hump. Clyde did that.
They pushed Jordan.
Jordan did that.
No.
So,
Clyde didn't never beat Jordan. He never.
No, I didn't say that. I didn't say that. I meant got over the hump in his conference.
Reggie pushed Jordan to his limit.
Was it lost. Reggie or was it Indiana? And he said they still lost.
Reggie
when it mattered, you want to say they were the only team to push him to 7 games? I'll say look at Jalen Rose, look at Antonio Davis, look at Dale Davis, look at Rick Smith, look at
Reggie was still the best player on the team.
Look at those guys. But
yes, he was. Yes, he was. Reggie was the man.
Iffy at that.
I will push Mark Jackson to go along with that.
Iffy at that.
Reggie was better.
So I'm going Reggie. I'm going Reggie at 14.
I mean, that's just only further makes my point about shooting guards in the 90s. But
I don't disagree with you. Like I said, I think that says more about Jordan and the lack of competition he plays his own position. But that's a whole nother conversation.
We'll Indiana, to me, everybody talk about the Knicks and all that. The Pacers was the team. The Pacers was the team to give the Bulls the most fits outside of Utah. Go ahead, second pick.
Next, I got another guard. I've been going back and forth with who to put in this position. I'm gonna go GP. I'm gonna go to Glove. The Glove was phenomenal defensively. He got a ring late in his career in Miami. I think his prime was short. I think he was more known for his defense and his offense. I don't know if he was the best player on that Seattle team or was it Shawn Kemp. Shawn Kemp was phenomenal. And that was arguably Shawn Kemp's best season. So you can say that's why they actually made it to the finals that year. But nothing else really stands out about GP in my opinion. I could think about the 2000 Olympics when he played that team. He wasn't the best player. He wasn't top 5 on that team. He was just one of the best guards, and he split time with Jason Kidd. It's just how I look back at it, I got GP.
And I agree with that. I'm going to pull an audible on mine because honestly, I forgot Gary Payton was even on the list. That's my fault. But go ahead. I'm sorry. You see how his emoji a little darker than everybody. I think he got lost on my sheet or something. I didn't see him. Go ahead, Justin.
Didn't you put this list together?
Look, bro, I made a mistake. I'm human. I got a lot of moving parts going on here. Like if you go back to the original list, look how he blends in with. I didn't see him. All I see is teeth.
Next to John Stockton.
He's chewing gum right now. Like I can see him doing that right now.
I'm sorry, man. I miss GP. He's supposed to be down the bottom, like right above Dominique. I'm sorry. I'm switching him. And when is my turn? Go ahead, Justin.
All right. With that being said, my next person is Gary Payton.
Yeah.
You forgot about it.
I can't even.
No, I did not forget about it. He's on my list.
You got him in front of what? You got him in front of Kevin McHale? What is going on here? This is ridiculous.
What are you saying?
He was what?
He was that dude.
We know he's great, but he's not better than Kevin McHale.
How you figure that?
Bruh,
the game plan was to stop Gary Payton and stop his offensive fast breaks and things like that. So Shawn Kemp won't get off. He was scouted against. What I'm saying is that's 1A, 1B. Kevin McHale was never 1A, 1B on the scouting report.
Yes, he was.
I didn't have to worry about him.
Yes, he was. You can't say that. You cannot say that. Yes, he was. The man was averaging 18 and a half, 20, 21, 26, 22, 22, 20, 19. Come on, man. You can't say he wasn't on the scouting report.
If you really want to add somebody to it, I could put James Worthy on this goddamn list and take Kevin McHale all the way the hell off. If you really want to put somebody on it,
James Worthy is on the next list. He on the next list.
No, he should be on this list. He came in the same time with Magic. He came after Magic. But that's okay, though. That's okay. Now, he was the one that you had to worry about. He was the one that was just dominating you on fast breaks and stuff like that. What I'm saying is, you had the Boston Celtics was so gifted. You had Dennis Johnson, God rest his soul, dominating the point guard position and things like. Denny Ace was decent coming off the bench, if not starting. And then you have Bird. Like, it's Bird, bro. That's like that. The reason why we don't have Scottie Pippen on this list is because
you're ready to say that. Like Scottie Pippen should have been on ahead of Wilkins. Scottie should have been on ahead of Dominique Wilkins.
Scottie should have been on the list. I agree.
Ahead of Dominique Wilkins.
Well, y'all didn't bring him up.
Hey, y'all didn't bring him up. I gave y'all the option.
I can care less about Scottie Pippen. But what I'm saying is that one person was that much better than everybody else.
James Worthy averaged 17, 20, 19, 19, 20, 21, 21, 19. Kevin McHale averaged, again, I'll say it again, 20, 20, 21, 26, 22, 22, 20, 19, more. And the rebounds to go with it.
Easy buckets.
And the rebounds to go with it.
Easy buckets. When you got
a bucket is a bucket. A bucket is a bucket.
I'm
He
not-
had
somebody
Magic
gotta
and
get-
Kareem.
somebody gotta
He
get-
had Magic and
get
Kareem.
off
We want to compare super teams. Come on.
Either
Go
way,
ahead.
he is where he's at.
All right, you got
Where
GP.
he's at.
I do my switch right here because I put GP on there too. But I'll put him right there. That was my mistake, guys. You see how he got a little black something around it just didn't stand out to me. But anyway, next on my list, look, no disrespect to anybody's favorite players. Just doesn't do it for me. When you comparing this guy to the rest of these guys. Great college player, phenomenal, no doubt about it. One of the greatest. He's a choke artist. I'm sorry. Patrick Ewing, next on my list. I'm sorry, I can't do it. The blown layup at the rim. You let a rookie come in and Tim Duncan and take you to school, show you what
that series.
a winner it is. That's what you showed him. I didn't say he played him head up, but he showed him.
He didn't
A rookie
play.
came in. What that got to do with anything? I said a rookie came in and won a championship.
He didn't play.
Why didn't he play?
He tore his Achilles.
Well, whose fault is that? He had as soon as Jordan's gone, that's the time the Knicks supposed to step up and go win a title. And he couldn't get it done. And
Yeah, nobody could other than the Rockets.
He had a chance. Jordan was gone. I'm talking about 98, 99. 99, it was that time. The Knicks should have. He got hurt. That's on him. And he was done. When Jordan was there.
He was done in like 97, 98. Like, he was done.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, he was on the court, wasn't he?
No, he wasn't. We don't count that.
What do you mean you don't count it?
If you look, no one holds the that 99 team to any type of high caliber led by him. It was led by Latrell Sprewell. It was led by Allen Houston, Marcus Camby, Charlie Ward. Those are those are the team. They were just bringing Big Pat along for the ride.
Yeah.
Well, Big Pat.
They got rid of him next year. He went to Toronto.
Big Pat is number 13
Orlando.
on my list. He's not worthy. I struggle with not putting him lower. To be honest with you, nothing about him. You want to talk about Kevin McHale? Patrick Ewing is the underachiever here. What?
Patrick Ewing led a team to the finals
and lost.
Okay, he led a team to the finals. What you want me to say?
It's your turn.
Oh, it is my turn. Who next?
Gary Payton led a team to the finals. What that mean?
That shows me something when you can lead a team to a finals. If you don't lead a team to the finals and you just kind of coast along, I gotta look at you twice.
I mean, you can say that about a lot of people.
So now everybody on this list from now on led a team to the finals, right? That's where we at.
So that's what I'm saying. What are we comparing it to?
No, I'm just talking about moving forward. That's why I had to get people that didn't do it and people that rolled coattails. I had to get them out the way first.
So you put Robert, you put Kevin McHale and Dominique at the bottom because they didn't lead a team to the finals.
Yes,
that's your reasoning. But yes. Gary Payton led a team to the finals, but he just wasn't that good.
Sure did. And significantly dropped Michael Jordan's shooting percentage. I don't care what that documentary tell you. Next, Reggie Miller. Great.
That's all you got.
That's all I got.
Reggie Miller destroyed Patrick Ewing every time he seen him. Every time you see him in the street, they beat the Knicks. Anytime the Knicks played the Pacers, the Knicks had no chance. Even when they thought they had a chance, he snatched their heart out their chest. In no world does Patrick Ewing belong on any list higher than Reggie Miller.
Reggie Miller ain't going 94.
Just off the playoffs alone.
You finished, Justin?
I'm done. He ain't going 94.
Patrick Ewing.
Bum.
Hey, Reggie Miller.
Patrick Ewing. I think that's just what it is. Clearly, this list is saying that you hate Pat Ewing.
That's all I got. My next two are tandem, but I can only say one, and then I'll say the other. So I'll give my dialogue after I say the next one. Stockton. I'll give my diatribe after I say on my next pick.
One of the greatest point guards of all time. And you gonna put him and Karl Malone next to each other on a list? You're pathetic, Calvin. That's
They going right.
back-to-back finals.
Stockton and Malone. They the same person. So yeah.
Pathetic. Go ahead, Justin.
Next for me is yeah. I'm gonna go David Robinson, man. Get him on here, man. Only reason why he's significant is because of Tim Duncan. That's the only reason. If Tim Duncan did not join that San Antonio squad,
MVP for Tim Duncan.
And what happened after that? Tell the people what happened right after he won MVP.
Oh, Hakeem with the work on his ass.
With the work on his ass, just to show you that he was no MVP. So
he still got the MVP.
Right, removed the MVP title from him.
He still got the MVP though.
And as a result, once again, he got descended, downgraded, and luckily he got hurt.
He's one of 5 people on this list with an MVP, and you got him.
Luckily,
I don't even know why you giving this guy any attention, Calvin. He's a hater. He's mad because Patrick Ewing couldn't spell David Robinson.
His whole career, luckily, he got saved.
Wait, you got Patrick Ewing over David Robinson?
That's what he got.
Patrick Ewing above David Robinson. Goddamn, it's coming next.
He's an idiot. That's
coming
the bottom line.
Coming next.
He's an idiot. That's the most foolish thing I've heard all day. But I'm not shocked. I'm not shocked at all. Anyway, next on my list, and look, no disrespect, and there's nothing wrong with
saying that, nigga.
Reggie Miller belongs here on the list, but he's better than Patrick Ewing. 7 days a week.
You got him bottom 15 too, but he's.
What do you mean? He's still better than Patrick Ewing. I think they both lost to Jordan.
He one spot ahead of him.
You still got Clyde in that lower half. That's a problem. You have
a
serious problem that he was second best shooting guard in the whole era, and you got him this low. That is shocking.
I don't think he was better than Reggie. Reggie was more impactful. That's just my opinion.
His coattail.
Hey, it is what it is. Reggie was tough. Reggie ain't mind scrappy, could shoot, could do it all. I love Reggie, and he led a team. Defense. And challenged the Bulls every time they played him. Every time. And it took them 7 games. The only team to do that I can recall. Anyway, yeah, I got Reggie there. Phenomenal player, one of the greatest shooters of all time until the likes of Ray Allen and Steph Curry later on. But of that era, Reggie was the man. Next, I'll go. And look, there's no disrespect. Again, this is where the list is at. And no harm being here on this part of the list. I'll go with John Stockton. I agree with you on that one, Calvin. I'm not agreeing with the second part, but I agree with the Stockton part. Phenomenal point guard for the time, but he was mainly a facilitator, which is no harm in that, no foul. Great defender at moments, not great on the ball. I mean, he was more of a, get his hands on loose balls type of guy. Got a lot of steals that kind of way, but he got cooked a lot too. So that's why it goes that part of my list. But he was a leader. And they ran a hell of a pick and roll offense out there in Utah. Justin?
Next, Pat Ewing. Le Capitan. I don't know why. He's just greatness personified in a person that just didn't win a championship. He is what it takes to be a captain of New York.
No MVPs. No all-star.
The Knicks of all places.
All decade.
Bad knees. He had 2 bad knees come out of college and still put on a Hall of Fame level career. Went to the finals multiple times. Not going to count the second one too much. But went to 94 and just, damn it, he lost to a Kane. But he showed much better face against Kareem than the other guy that I just mentioned that got his ass completely handed to him by Hakeem Olajuwon. It was a difference. Shout out to New York.
Calvin.
First one, Karl Malone. Now, look, this is my problem with Utah and with Karl Malone and Stockton. When you go back and look at their heyday in the 90s, they made the finals in 97 and 98. Why specifically did they make the finals in 97 and 98? There are a number of reasons. Because Magic retired, because Clyde got old, because Barkley got old, because Sean Kemp fell out of shape, because Gary Payton got old. They had this team together for the majority of the 90s and did not have any success until all those things happened at the end of the 90s. But you want me to put this team as some great team and some competition that Jordan faced when that's the reason they made the finals in 97 and 98? And all the things that we talked about with LeBron and longevity, attribute those things to Karl Malone. That's why he was number 2 in points, because of longevity. That's why he was up there in rebounds, because of longevity. It wasn't that he was this great player. He was phenomenal player. He was a great player for his time. He was never able to get over that hump until those players got old, and then he met Michael Jordan, and he brought him back down to reality. So I have to lump them together. They are one, and I'm not even counting the year when he went to my LA Lakers and brought them down and shamed them by disgracing us with that finals loss to Detroit. I got Karl Malone and John Stockton as one.
I think you sound pathetic.
Next,
I really do.
I have Clyde Drexler ahead of Karl Malone and John Stockton because he led them to the finals in '89 in the prime of in the primes of Magic Johnson and Larry Bird, because he then went back to the finals against Michael Jordan, because he then was the catalyst to help Houston repeat and win a ring. He is a winner. He is a champion. He's the first champion I have on this list, and he is better than John Stockton and Karl Malone. I got Clyde Drexler. Clyde the Glove.
That was well said, Cal. I'm not even gonna lie to you, man. That was well said. Next for me, John Stockton. I gotta do a little separation there. So Karl Malone will come a little bit after that. I mean, John Stockton was just what you stereotypical point guard. Coming out of, I can't put him up there with Magic and Zeke. There has to be some type of separation between the two, because he just wasn't that guy to lead everything around him per se. But when it comes to longevity, when it comes to being, I mean, all you gotta say is NBA leader in assists and NBA leader in steals. Shots, you got it. You got it, both. You belong on list. You don't belong in the back end. You don't belong in the top end, but you right there in the middle somewhere. John Stockton.
All right. I'm still like kind of dumbfounded at that, how Karl Malone could be that low on anybody's list, but whatever. We move.
He's even low on the skip list.
Just pathetic. I'll go Kevin McHale here. Again, I think he's got surpassed in some ways by Chuck and Malone, but before that, he was the prototype for power forward play. The guy who wasn't a center, but he was just a little smaller than your average center, but could play inside out, could shoot the jumper, also finish at the rim, play defense. He was all around great player. And again, he was a prototype. He was what a lot of those guys, and Karl, I think, played phenomenally for a guy of his size, to play like a Swiss Army knife, too big to be a small forward, but just right to be a power forward. And that's what Kevin McHale was. Wasn't as athletic, but he was tough. And I've got Kevin McHale there on my list in that spot. And next, back-to-back pick, look, again, putting them this low, it's not low. We talking the best of the best. This is the cream of the crop at this point. Hey, it is what it is. I'll go with David Robinson. I love David Robinson, phenomenal player. I do think, he was a great individual player back in the day, long before he got a lot of help. A lot of people don't know that because they didn't actually watch the Spurs, but he was an MVP for a reason. Phenomenal scorer, great rebounder, great athletic phenom, could dunk from anywhere. A guy his size doing what he did, phenomenal player. He goes there on my list. And of course, he won his title with Tim once he was a little bit older, but I don't take nothing away from him. Two.
99 and 03.
03. Yeah.
He was there 03, but he was shell of himself at that point.
He was Patrick Ewing.
Yeah, but he won, so.
He didn't have
Anyway, that's David for me. Next, Justin.
All right, now we go Clyde. Rifle spot. I honestly don't think you guys watched. Not you, Calvin. You did a great job of the 80s. He came a year before Jordan, and when I tell you that it was him, like Like, it was Jordan on the East, no doubt. But the dude that you was watching, besides Magic, it was definitely Clyde. He definitely took that Portland squad that you really can't name 3 other guys on that Portland squad. Cliff Robinson,
Kevin Duckworth, Terry Porter.
Terry Porter was big.
You know, so he had a decent squad, but none of these guys were really Hall of Famers like that. It was all Clyde. Clyde was everything. It's just the greatness of Jordan overshadowed what will be Clyde. But he wasn't on that USA team for no reason. He was that dude. And he gave Jordan work too. Don't get it twisted. He was scoring with Jordan. It's just Jordan was just a little bit more prolific. So shout out to Clyde. I ain't forget about you, boss.
Yeah, I got Kevin McHale next. I think it was a point in time where you can make an argument he was the best player on the Celtics. Did they win a title that year? No, but was it because of his injury? I think that played a big part. So I'm not going to downplay that. He could have won MVP that year. I think he had the record for most points as a Celtic until Larry Bird broke it like a week later. So he does have accolades. When you're a part of a dynamic team or one of the all-time great teams, you've got to be able to play your part. You got to be able to excel at times. So I'm gonna give that to Kevin McHale. And next I'm gonna go David Robinson. I think everybody but Isaiah has the MVP. But I think everyone else was more impactful in that prime. David Robinson was great, but I think when Justin said mentioned earlier, when you give him an MVP and then he gets worked in the playoffs by the guy that came a second, that says a lot about you as well. But he's a two-time champion. He's part of the reason of the line of succession of the San Antonio Spurs. He taught Tim how to win. Tim taught the others how to win. So he started that. Him and Pop, so that counts for something as well. So I give it to Dave Robinson.
Justin?
Okay, yeah, we're moving up now, aren't we? This was tough. So you already know what the back-to-back is going to be, but I'll go with Charles Barkley right here. He was great. I don't think I'm trying to word this right to be respectful.
He was fat and out of shape most of his career, and he was injury prone. Go ahead.
I think that Philadelphia squad, I think he should have held on to some of those vets a little bit longer. I'll say like this: that '83 Philadelphia squad won a championship, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
and
they won in '80. I thought. I'll check. Continue.
So they end up having him. They draft him pretty much either that next year, '84 draft with Jordan. That should have been what we look at Detroit Pistons and y'all should have drafted Carmelo Anthony right afterwards. Like y'all had that shot. Y'all had that chance to extend this, whatever that y'all was developing. Well, Philadelphia did that. And he wasn't great enough, fast enough. And it could have been because he was out of shape. It could have been because he didn't have the work ethic like he should have had and all these other things. But you had Moses Malone and Dr. J right there. And you just didn't get enough done. And then when it was your team, you always said it was your teammates' fault that you couldn't get anything done towards the late 80s. Okay, we give you that. Then you go with the Phoenix. All right, Phoenix hit the ground running, right? Shout out to KJ, like I said in the very beginning. Dan Molly and them boys. And then you kept losing too, right? So, Gary Payton was taking you out. Y'all was taking him out. Utah was taking both of y'all out. And none of y'all can win anything except for the Houston Rockets. So, it's that kind of a thing. These were the teams that was justifying for position. So, somebody got to be on the lower end of that Charles Barkley.
They won in 82, 83.
That was 82, 83, yep.
So, it was 2 years before he got there.
But he was still that rookie, right? He could have.
No, he didn't. He wasn't there that year.
Not that year. The following. What I'm saying was that they would pretty much still had that championship squad.
Yeah. He played with Mo Lucas and Mo Malone,
he played with them.
Moses and Dr. J. Yeah, Mo Cheeks. I'm sorry.
So You got your rookie. He's supposed to take them to a whole nother level. He did.
He wasn't ready for it, and that's
I'm
my
not,
problem with him.
We picking straws. That's what I
ain't picking straws. I agree with you. I'm debating putting them below Kevin McHale, to be honest with you. But I said, okay, I
you hate Charles.
Nah, ain't no hate. Charles was a hell of a rebounder, man. I'll give him all the credit in the world. Hell of a rebounder. Sometimes he averaged almost 15 rebounds a game. Phenomenal. But his high for his career was 25 points, and that's the year he won MVP.
That was the year he won MVP.
I think so. I could be wrong. Maybe he had 27. Yeah, he had 27 one year, 91. But look, I just we talking about the best of the best now. We ain't talking about down the list. Of course, he's better than like a Patrick Ewing or something like that. But when we talking about Jordan and Magic,
he's better than Dave Robinson too. Jade his ass in the playoffs too. Don't get it twisted. I remember that shot.
That little crossover.
Guys, so have a seat, son.
Just because you have
with the elbow pad.
I mean, trying to throw Patrick Ewing in that. Like,
my point is, KD had better series than LeBron. Any of us had KD over LeBron. I'm saying head to head. When KD was with Golden State, he gave LeBron work every game. Did any of us have KD over LeBron overall? No, we did not. So no, that one series don't make the difference in whether you list or somebody. Yeah, of course it helped. But Charles Barkley should be way higher as far as talent wise. He was playing undersized, so I give him all the credit in the world for overcoming his height differences and playing in the Atlanta Giants, stuff like that. But again, had he kept himself in shape, had he took the game serious for the majority of his time, and the stuff he criticized people for, he didn't want to fight that fight by himself. He wanted out of Philly. Things got tough in Phoenix. He wanted out of there. Went to Houston, teamed up with that team that was already made, and he couldn't steal a ring there either. He's not a champion. That's on him. Whose fault is that? Again, we talk about you can't give guys for Calvin to have Charles Barkley this much higher than a Karl Malone is absolutely pathetic. No. The list is already here. Look how far down you got Karl Malone before you got to a Charles Barkley.
Actually, how I got Stockton and Malone, they're one in my opinion.
It's disrespectful.
Is it my turn?
Karl Malone, who was a model of consistency.
Is it my turn?
I was a model of consistency.
Don't you gotta get two?
Yeah, I'm going with my second one now. I'm taking my time. I'm reclaiming my time. Anyway, next for me would be, and this is tough because again, these are the best of the best. And I hate that Charles is even this high on my list, but it is what it is. I got Isaiah. Probably the second greatest point guard of all time. Phenomenal player, phenomenal leader. It's tough for me to even put him here, to be honest with you. But I do think I take a point away from him for some of the he had a hell of a team. The Bad Boy Pistons, we all know he was the leader of that squad. But the Olympic issue, the whole getting iced out, I think his career could have been longer. I think he could have done more. I don't know why he ended when he did. I don't know. Was that completely why?
He had a surgery on his wrist, and after that, he just couldn't shoot no more. His shooting percentages, everything took a drop. He could not shoot the ball anymore. So that was pretty much it for him.
Yeah,
he just hung around at his contract to get paid.
I gotta give the edge to a guy who played at a higher level for a longer period of time. So he was right below call for me. So Isaiah goes there for me. Justin?
Karl Malone. I blame him single-handedly, though. I hate to start out negative for that Lakers run. Had he not been effing around with Vanessa, maybe Kobe would have been a little bit more focused and then win that goddamn series. But it's just I'm not gonna say nothing positive about Karl Malone, man. I got him where I got him. He's a dirty dude on and off the court. I ain't got too much love for him, but
hold up, dive into that. What happened? What did he do?
Just underage. You know, he goes on the sex offender list.
Really?
You know, respectfully, disrespectfully. If I
Is this true? I never heard this before.
Yeah,
Charles was a pedophile.
His oldest son's age, basically.
Yeah,
and the mom's age, yeah.
Yeah, and then disregarded him, didn't want to say nothing about his family and nothing like that. Completely said
because he played in the NFL for a year too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the dude is just there's a reason why people don't bring him up, and he just kind of been like a castaway in Utah, and he stays out the limelight. He don't want that negative talk.
He cool in Utah. He cool in Utah and wherever.
That's what I'm saying. Like that's one of the perfect spots to kind of.
What do you like? What do you say? Y'all saying he dated an underage girl?
No,
he had a child. So yes,
that is that. And then the stuff with Vanessa, he was overly macking on Vanessa when clearly that was Kobe's wife at the time and all this other stuff. Like,
really,
I didn't know that was true. I thought that was a rumor.
No, that was true. That was true.
I mean, that was during
as much as I know from outside looking in.
I know that was during Colorado, so. That's why I wasn't sure.
I ain't got he there. Shout out to what he did on the court.
Excellent play on the court. Go ahead, Calvin.
With Dave Robinson. All right, I got
say it with your chest.
I got Barkley. Okay. I think he's MVP. I think his peak those years, those late Philly, early Phoenix years, his peak was phenomenal. I think he, in my opinion, was the closest to beating Jordan in any of those 6 title years. He pushed him 6 games. He was the MVP that year in that series. And it was a John Paxson shot. It was, a little bit of luck sprinkled in. So I think his peak is better than the guys that are behind him. And I think he was one of the only people to push Jordan. And he didn't even have as talented as a team. I know people want to talk about how talented Kevin Johnson was.
Dan Marley.
How talented Dan Marley was. Jordan gave Dan Marley work. And he was an all-star. That's perfectly fine, but that just further diminishes the shooting guard competition.
You don't think Utah was a bigger challenge than Phoenix was?
I think Charles Barkley was the best competitor that Jordan faced in the finals.
That's a good question.
Magic was at the end of his rope.
You say Phil. You say Utah. I honestly think if they make the switch quicker, I say Seattle. That's interesting.
Seattle. They only won 5 games. I don't.
That was 6.
They went 6 in '96. I thought they went 5.
It was 6. All his joints went 6 except for Magic. That's a fact.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I think Charles was the best finals player that played against Jordan. I don't think Karl Malone was in his prime when he played him in 97, 98.
I ain't talking about prime. Look at the numbers. Look at the numbers.
Wait. He did win MVP.
He was the MVP.
That was Jordan's MVP.
It was. Won it. But Karl did win it.
Okay.
So,
and who was the MVP in the finals? Who was the MVP in the finals?
Well, we know Jordan was the MVP. Okay. That's not the question. You said he gave him the biggest fight.
And even looking back at the Last Dance, that was the MVP that Jordan was upset about, not the Barkley one. He was more upset that Karl got one in '97 and not the Barkley one in '93. So I think
Barkley won MVP averaging like 21, like 25 maybe. It wasn't even that much. Like
he averaged 25 and 12.
93?
Yes. He averaged 25 and 12.
That would have been 92, 93, right? Not 93,
yes, 92, 93. 92, 93, yeah.
I mean, it was good. I mean, we giving guys MVPs these days averaging 30. Like, I'm just saying.
We giving guys MVP this year that just for them to put up numbers and come in 6, but that's a whole nother conversation. I got Isaiah next. So I put Wade on the 2 finals runs. I put Wade because you beat Larry Bird and the Celtics. You beat LA. You could have beat them twice with turn ankle. So you did beat the Goliaths of your generation. You went toe to toe with them, and you beat them. And and you kept off Jordan, but once Jordan got there, he never gave it up. And you can make the argument they should have won the year Scotty got the migraine. So
was the reason he got the migraine because he was going against Detroit in a game time situation.
I mean, I ain't gonna speculate why the man was injured, but you know, it was you got one extra ring because of that migraine, in my opinion. So, but I'm gonna give it you Isaiah. Isaiah deserves his flowers. I'm one to think that Isaiah is not one of the top point guards all the time. When I say that, I mean top 3. However, I'm going to give him his flowers this time. He deserved to be on the. No, he didn't deserve to be there at 19. I ain't gonna start that lie. But on this list, I have him top 5.
You said what? What'd you say?
I said I was getting ready to say he deserved to be there at 92. Then I said no, he didn't. I'm not going to start that lie.
He didn't deserve to be on the Dream Team?
No.
Why?
Because if Jordan didn't want him on the team, I'd rather have Jordan than Isaiah.
That don't make someone undeservingly though.
Okay.
You're a hater.
Oh man, I sometimes I hate going about it. This is ridiculous. Oh man,
you're a hater.
I'm a hater. I got him top 5. I think that's top 5. Yeah, I got him top 5.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, this is dead end, right? We can't have dead end on ball games, but god damn, man, that last line threw me off. But I'm gonna go with Zeke right here as well. Top 5.
We all had on the same spot, pretty much.
No, it was the way he kind of just threw it out there like that. You know, he deserved to be. Yeah, he deserved to be on that 92 squad. But like I said, he was the one guy that beat Boston, took them boys out the pasture, held off a young Jordan. That does count for something. Anyone that's in that LeBron conversation that talks about LeBron, they will bring up Detroit with no hesitation. And like I said, and he beat LA, so should have beat him twice. That was a offensive call against Bill Laimbeer, but it is what it is. Those that look back at that series, Zeke was just that dude, man. Just different eras, man. Some of these guys, man, you put them in today's era, my God, they would be like, lo and behold, 10 times better. Even some of the guys that we said in the past, later in the list. But Zeke is definitely the prototype of scoring guard, but team leader at the same time as well. There's not enough to be said about Zeke, man.
Yeah. Next for me, Karl Malone. Look, man, I just think he's not appreciated enough for what he did. Let's go back, because there's a couple things I just want to point out for folks to understand this. He came into the league at 85, all right? Rookie year, average 15-9. Okay. Next year, 21, 27, 29, 31, 29, 28, 27, 27, 27, 27, 27, 27, 24, 25, 24, 23. Come on, man. Look, what? Like, this guy was a monster. How can you not? Like, if you put them numbers, if somebody came to the league right now and I rattle you off those stats and they did that every year, you're talking about Giannis. You're talking about somebody of that caliber.
I will want to see what he did in the playoffs.
All right, so I'm about to go to, because Calvin made a point about who gave Jordan the biggest test. So, okay, 1997, game 1, the Bulls won 84-82. Game 2, the Bulls won 97-94. Game 3, the Jazz won 104-93. Game 4, the Jazz won 78-73. They held Jordan to 73 points. And in game 5, the Bulls won 90-88. Game 6, which was the closeout game, the Bulls won 90-86. At what how was that not close? The whole series was close. 1998. Let's go to the next year. The Jazz won game 1, 88-85. Bulls won 93-88.
What about that 50-point joint?
The Bulls won 96-54. Now,
okay. All right.
But then come right back. Game 4, 86-82. The Bulls won. And then in game 5, the Jazz won 83-81. And then the closeout game, we all know the move, 87-86. This wasn't no, Oh, they got beat down one time in 2 years. Like, come on. Like, you can't say you play the Bulls, the Chicago Bulls led by Scottie Pippen and Michael Jordan, 2 finals back to back, and you get smoked one time, and you hold Michael Jordan to like 70 points at one point, under 100 every game. Every game was under 100.
Let's go look at this Phoenix. Look at the Phoenix team.
I'm talking about 2 years. 2 years.
Okay. Look at the Phoenix team. First game, they lose 192. Next game, they lose 111-108.
Who's they?
Phoenix loses to Chicago.
Yeah.
Next game, they win 129-121, triple overtime. So I'll
remember that. That was a classic.
Triple overtime. Game 4, they lose 111-105. Game 5, they win 108-98, and game 6, they lose 99-98. That was the John Paxson game. So they lost by no more than 10 in every combined game.
No. But
look
at the scores.
Chuck put up
the Jazz
40,
held the
30.
Bulls to under 100 in every game. I just listened to you.
And
defense does matter.
Okay.
I'm just saying. The Bulls didn't score over 100 points in any of these games in 2 finals. And we're talking about a team led by Michael Jordan, the greatest player of all times. You got to give some credit to the Jazz.
And I'm giving credit to Karl Malone defense against Dennis Rodman, who scored what? How many points?
I'm talking about the teams. I would just give you an example of the led by Karl Malone was clearly the leader of that team. Let's not act like that's. And Karl didn't just go out there and score 10 points in those games. So, and was the reigning MVP.
Not the Chuck, and he was the reigning MVP.
Hold up. Okay. Chuck had some games where he wasn't the man. I just watched
Chuck scored 20, 40, 20, 21 to be specific, 42, 24, 32, 24, 21.
20 ain't enough against Jordan. What are we doing here? Anyway, again, these are all great players. I'm just saying, put some respect on Karl Malone's name. The man did his thing. And longevity, we're going to give LeBron credit for longevity. You got to talk about the same thing when you come to a Karl Malone. He just didn't. He played in the era where you had the Jordan guy. I mean, like a lot of these players. I mean, too many of these guys on this list, we talk about being champions. So that we can kind of, if the people we want to talk about being champions, we just going to put the champions all at the top. That's fine. We can do that. But I'm just saying, a lot of these great players ain't got no rings. If that's what the criteria here is.
A lot of, and Karl Malone and John Stockton didn't make the finals until everybody else got old.
Well, who's everybody else getting old? That's the part that
Charles Barkley, Hakeem Olajuwon, Magic Johnson, Clyde Drexler,
like what are we
Gary
talking
Payton,
about here?
Sean Kemp. I just named everybody that got
Gary
old.
Payton wasn't old. Well, how old was Gary Payton in 1998 and 1999 coming off of a finals just 2 years prior? How old was he?
He was older than he was in 96.
His running mate wasn't the same. That's the problem.
Is that Utah? Is yet the Utah Jazz's problem that his running mate?
No. It's the Utah Jazz.
They had enough longevity to ride everybody else.
They were never
where
able to get over the hump. They were never able to get over the hump until those players got old.
And that's the dangerous team.
That's the truth.
That's a Western Conference team.
The problem with 97, 98, those 2 years was mainly because the Lakers weren't ready. That's really what we're talking about here. Once they got ready, then they took off, and then San Antonio took off right along with they was.
Are we going to discount the Lakers winning championships because the East was weak in the early 2000s when they got to go up against the New Jersey Nets and teams of that ilk? Is that what we're doing? I'm just asking a question. If we're gonna look at the competition and say that that's the reason why, or I mean, a lot of people wouldn't have rings if we just gonna look around the league and say, well, they didn't really have a lot of great competition back then. I mean, come on, that's most of the 90s.
Calvin's point was, where was this? It's damn near the same team. Where was this team vying for finals positions in the 10, 15 years they've been together? Why did it wait so long for them to do it? Where was that in the late
through.
80s? Where was that in the early 90s? Where was that in the mid 90s? It wasn't until the late 90s.
We can say the same thing. How come the Houston Rockets never met up with the Bulls until Jordan was gone those 2 years? We can say the same thing about Hakeem Olajuwon. Did Olajuwon win a title when Jordan was still there?
He went to the finals, though.
He never faced Jordan. He never faced Jordan.
He never faced Jordan, but he went to the finals, though.
We can use
he went to the finals before Jordan, though.
But we talked. I made the point of you saying that how come they didn't make this run?
I'm saying they couldn't win.
The West
I'm saying no. I'm saying they could not win They could not win the West until everybody got old. That's the truth.
Okay.
They couldn't win the West until everybody got
the
old.
West. The Houston Rockets couldn't win the West while Jordan was winning the East.
The Houston Rockets won the West in '85.
When Jordan was winning the East, was my
he won that West before Jordan made the finals.
Everybody say Houston stole those 2 titles when Jordan was golfing and playing baseball. Let's be real about it.
So if Patrick,
we say the same thing. Real, it wasn't 2; it was just 1. Jordan was back with the second one.
You want to get technical?
Jordan came back.
You want to get technical?
He went to the conference finals.
He came back and then
he wasn't in full.
He got that. He came back and got stripped in Orlando.
He got his
ass whooped.
He wasn't in full form.
He came back and blamed for hand on power forward because Horace was gone.
We give him credit for that. I'm not taking nothing away from Orlando for what they did. I'm just using your criteria saying, well, Houston ain't do nothing when everybody was in the West. They were teams still playing basketball. What are you talking about?
They took advantage of a low point in that time period. That's all he said.
I don't think it was a low point. You're looking at they were the best. Phoenix and different teams were still playing basketball, weren't they? Weren't Houston still around? Like, what are we talking about? I think y'all have been disingenuous.
I don't think you fully grasp what's going on.
It's nothing new. It's nothing new. It's disrespect. Is picking and choosing what history you want to acknowledge.
The same way that Justin said Kobe and the Lakers wasn't ready, Tim Duncan and the Spurs weren't ready, because when they got up and ready, nothing happened with Utah. Utah could not be great teams. When teams were not great, then they won, and they put up this performance in the finals. Oh, they won 2 games, so they really are great. No, they could not beat great teams until something happened to each one of the players I named, and because Kobe wasn't ready and because Tim wasn't ready, they did nothing.
You're trying to make an argument.
I'm not making an argument. I'm making a great point. I'm making a point.
You're trying to make an argument that these players aren't great players because they didn't win.
I've never said they weren't great. I've never said they were great. I'm saying on this list, everyone is great, but there are people that are greater and there are people that are not as great.
You put Karl Malone in the bottom half of your list because he didn't win a title, but you put Charles Barkley all the way up here
because I said Charles Barkley's prime was better than Karl Malone's.
It was never.
I didn't say longevity. I said Charles Barkley at his best was better than Karl Malone.
Show me the numbers.
I said.
Show me the numbers that proves that.
Karl Malone, show me the numbers. Charles Barkley in 92,
I want to say for the record, I do not agree with that part.
Show me the numbers.
I do not agree with that.
I'm looking at the game tape. I'm looking at who gave Jordan the better. I'm looking at who gave Jordan a better run. Charles Barkley, not Karl Malone.
Charles didn't stick Jordan every play. What are we talking about here? He put the white boy out there to go get tired while Charles was going up against who? Who was Charles going up against? I just watched that 93 series the other night, the triple overtime game. I just watched it. Charles looked lethargic. He was suffering from a sore knee. Okay. From the first quarter. Go back and look at it.
When he had 40 and 20, okay.
In triple overtime, he had 60. Like, come on, man.
Did Jordan have 60?
Jordan ain't need 60.
Did Jordan have 40?
He had a team around him. We all know that. He had Scotty.
So Charles Barkley didn't have a team around him. Okay, that's fine.
No,
you can say that too.
That's how they got the triple overtime. Okay. It wasn't because of Charles.
That's okay.
You should have saw that effort out there. BJ Armstrong was out there shooting threes all over the place. Oh, man, what a game. I watched it the other night. Anyway, again, disrespect towards the Utah Jazz for no apparent reason. You got Charles Barkley, one of the biggest waste of space. Oh, God, pathetic. Anyway, it's my turn.
Where we at right now, yo?
I got the Dream.
I have no clue.
The Dream at number 3 for me. Number 4, excuse me, on my list. Same thing. If you're going to use that criteria, he won. Great player. champion, one of the most unstoppable, dream shake, all that sensational footwork, one of the masters of the game, inside out, pretty jumper, all that, man. I love the Dream. Great guy. But again, he should have did that against Jordan later or earlier. You know what I mean?
Jordan should have made the finals in 95.
Akeem should have made it in 90, 91, 92.
He made it in 85. Where was Jordan?
Hey, not my fault. 91, 92, 93. He got a 94, 95, 96, 97.
Disrespect.
Hey, you're number 4 on my list. You're great. If you're number 4 on the list, you're great. I'm nobody disrespecting the Dream. He's one of the men. He's a great guy. Great player. I will never disrespect the Dream. Number 4 on my list. Go ahead, Justin.
Number 4, Hakeem Olajuwon. Said all those things. You pretty much said his career stats. But when I say if I'm picking anybody to give me a quadruple double, this is one of the people that will come first in my mind. There's a reason why when Michael Jordan says if I had a starting 5, who's going to be my center? Out of all the centers that ever played, he always says Hakeem Olajuwon.
Because they ducked each other. Go ahead.
For obvious reasons, other than what he just said. Hakeem was just great, man. The premier post guy, not the other guy that's laid way back on my list. The premier guy that put it on the map. Dream Shake 101, Hakeem Olajuwon.
Calvin?
Yeah, I'm gonna join the list. I got Hakeem at 4, and I'm not gonna regurgitate what you already said. All I'm gonna say is people to this day, players to this day, still go to Houston to try to learn that footwork. I ain't never seen nobody go to Utah to learn how to shoot a fadeaway or learn how to do a pick and roll. So
I have.
Next.
Ain't nobody going to see Utah, man. Ain't nobody going to Utah.
Ain't nobody come to see you, Otis. Next. I think this is where the real challenge comes in.
What challenge?
Between 2 and 3, we got the same one.
You think it's a challenge between 2 and 3? Okay, that's busy interesting. Go ahead.
I got Larry Bird at 3.
It
was hot. Like Larry Bird is one of I think 4 players to win 3 straight MVPs. And you can say that 80. I think it's the 84 team was argued, or 86 team was the greatest
86
team. Was the greatest team ever, led by Larry Bird. So I think he warrants discussion for being number 2. I think there was. I can't even knock Larry Bird. I'll just say Magic was better at that time. But yeah, Larry, arguably the greatest shooter, arguably the greatest small forward of all time. Larry Bird. I'm not even gonna try to knock him.
Justin?
If you would ask me this question a couple years ago, I would have said somebody else. And I will get to those reasons when I say that guy. Right now, number 3 for me is Larry Bird. I think he's the last one to get 3 straight MVPs, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. And I think that's the reason why they don't give people 3 straight MVPs today, because they're trying to preserve Larry Bird's name when it comes to that. That is his last claim to fame when it comes to being that guy, right?
Great White Hope.
He is that, right?
So that's the only reason I would disagree, because the person that could have won it you could have said the same thing about him in the Great White Hope.
Steve Nash?
But it's different.
I meant Jokic.
Jokic. but that's the Great White Hope. That's not a European concept.
Yeah.
That is an American born concept.
Yeah.
It has to be American star.
And French Lick, Indiana is one of the most American places I've probably ever seen, and I've never been there. But yeah, I mean, it's Bird. He's the guy. He's the truth. 3 straight MVPs. He was that dude. It was all on him, and other people rode his coattails along the way.
Jesus Christ! Oh my goodness! You just can't.
So, there's that. Thank you very much.
I'm going with Larry Bird, no doubt about it. Phenomenal player again. When we talking top 5, of course, all these players are great. I think he had little bit more. No, I can't even say nothing negative. It's just great player, but I just got Magic over him. Magic came right in, winning from the Final Four, college, right to the league, winning, pairing up with Kareem, and just took this league by storm. And again, just to remind folks, this is just not just about play on the field, but impact on the game. And we all know the history of Bird and Magic, what they meant to the NBA, what they meant to the league. In many ways, they saved the league. Before this, games were being tape delayed, and things weren't live. And they really made the game mainstream. I know a lot of people talk about Jordan and LeBron and that debate, but before all that, it was Magic and Bird. That was the debate. It was a racial thing. It was a cultural thing. It was everything about society could be encapsulated in the Magic and Bird comparisons, because you had small town Indiana, like Justin just said, versus the glitz and glam of the LA smiling kid and Magic, even though he was from Lansing, Michigan. Still, when he went out to LA, he took on that whole moniker of Showtime, and he became the face of the new fast-paced, hip 70s style, early 80s, high-flying Showtime basketball. And he rejuvenated Kareem's career in many ways. If you go back and watch Showtime, that special they had on HBO, and you look at how begrudging that Kareem was, and Magic was the lighthearted, fun, smiling guy that just energized the whole league. And you got to give him credit. And look, as much as Jordan gets credit for everything, Magic, and to me, deserves a lot more credit. And we all remember back when he announced that he was HIV positive and had to leave the game early. Man, who knows how many more years he could have played? You know what I mean? It wasn't like other than that, he didn't have a lot of physical injuries or anything like that. And Magic, just a billionaire, great off the court, just a great representation for the league. I know I was long with it, but go ahead, Justin.
So my next person is also Magic. I forgot to say this for Bird because you drew my memory for that. When we talking about like what happens if Larry don't have this back injury and Len Bias doesn't have his demise.
I was going to say that.
Lord. I mean, shout out to Jordan and everything, but that right there could have been something.
They may win 2-3 more. Like that was 80. That was 86. That was his last MVP season.
Mm-hmm. So that's also one of those what if scenarios. But the reason why I said that I had Larry over that is because of the fact that Larry was the 3-time MVP. So he had his peak was a bit higher, just a tad bit higher. But when I go back and I actually looked at some of the footage, I looked at some of the games, some of the finals games. Like I literally sat down and just took my time to watch. Not recently, but over the last couple of years, I started to actually go through some of these series. I'm like, yo, Magic. And it's all love to Kareem. Magic carried Kareem. And a lot of times people hold Magic back on the all-time great list because, he had Kareem. No, Kareem had him, pause. And that's what made me finally make that switch. Like I said, I had to literally kind of watch it for myself. But yes, when I say he dragged the captain along. He dragged his tall 7-foot ass along the ride. And if they couldn't score, he had to slow things down. Magic could have scored on his own. He still could have scored. He said, no, I'm going to get my teammates involved. I'm going to make Brian Scott a household name. I'm going to make Norm Nixon. As a matter of fact, I'm taking his job anyway because he was a point guard. Like, I'm going to do everything. Showtime is where it's at, and it's all centered around what Magic Johnson did, greatness. And he couldn't even dribble left-handed, and he still dominated everybody.
Yeah. I got Magic at 2 as well. With, like you said, the names that he made household names: AC Green, Kurt Rambis, Byron Scott, Mike Smirk, Mike O. Thompson, James Worthy. He made those guys better than what they were just by him being a pass first point guard with the flair for the theatrics. And I think part of him being in LA also helped because if he would have went to, I think it's supposed to be drafted by Utah. Originally had that pick before they traded. I think it was Utah. Like it wouldn't have been the same. He may have been the same player, but it wouldn't have been the same because it wasn't LA. It wasn't Hollywood. It wasn't, the flair, the glitz and glamour. It wasn't the Forum. It wasn't the Forum Club. It wasn't all that. And to this day, I still have him. It's shrinking, but I still have him as the greatest point guard of all time. And I don't have Larry as the greatest small forward of all time. So I think that's where I had to make that. But like going back to that what ifs, if you got Len Bias and Larry Bird at the end of his prime, and he kind of, and then I didn't even add Reggie Lewis as well, who, passed,
well,
6-7 years later.
If Len there, then they don't get Reggie.
Okay, that's fair. But you just add Len Bias, and you can imagine the rivalries that he would have had with Jordan as well. So, but yeah, MJ's number one. I think that's on everyone's list. I don't even know what to say. It's just MJ's number one. So,
yeah. Well, I guess I can ask this question then. We all have Jordan number one. Now, if you go through your list, when do you get to the next best shooting guard? Clyde?
Well, my list is Clyde, but it's only 4 of them on there. Well, it's 4 of them on there, but yeah, it's Clyde, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
You going back to the original point of the gap between 1 and 2. I understand.
It was a big man's game.
It's the gap his position. I don't think that's. I think that's something that people that the big Jordan defenders talk about where he dominated. No, there was a gap in talent at his position, and I think this list also talks about it. I'm not saying Clyde wasn't great, but Clyde was at best 50% of Jordan. Like it was no competition at the shooting guard position for the 90s and the majority of MJ's career.
So well, here's a secondary question: who's the best small forward on your list?
Larry Bird.
Who's second best?
We don't have no small forwards.
Dominique was small forward.
So you got Dominique
too. Okay.
Yeah, he was a small forward.
I count him as a 2.
What did he play as?
I thought he played as a 2, but okay, either way.
So that's part of the analysis I want us to do when we're done with this. I want us to look at by position and see when people talk about errors, is it that the people are better today, or that what we look at, the athletes at certain positions are more of the stars of the league now? Because if you look back in the past, it was a big man's game in many ways. Big men and guard play, like point guard play, what dominated the game. Even some of these guys that we've gone over here today, you got your Magic, who's a point guard. You got Isaiah, but then you got giants. You know what I mean? A lot of big guys. You look in the 2000s, you had your Kobe's, you had a lot of big power forwards. That was like a power forward era with Tim, KG, Dirk. You know what I mean? See where we didn't name everybody, but I'm just saying, I want us, when we're done with this, and we're going to go back and compare and really compile a list and examine why the game has changed to the degree it has in many ways. And I think we're going to come to that conclusion that it's the best players of the past were big guys who dunked, and they weren't shooting all these threes and stuff like that. And they played a more physical brand of basketball. But again, we can say that for another day. But I do think that is part of the change in the game, and where a Jordan stood out is because athletically, who was matching him? Look at this list. Look at this list. Athletically, who could do what Jordan could do or similar? You would get all the way down to Dominique. Clyde was athletic.
I say Clyde.
Clyde was athletic. But again, we just named 15 guys, and you just gave me 2 names. So,
yeah, we'll say that.
does that, and this is getting off topic, does that strengthen the argument that an athletic wing would have dominated that period of time?
I don't know. What I'm saying is Jordan stood out because there was nobody who was comparable.
That's my point. So with an athletic wing, or even
So,
not even an athletic
More
wing.
wings.
No, I
more
don't want to
wings
say not
who
athletic
played a
wing.
similar style.
A wing that did something different than everyone else, would they have stood out? So in this era, a wing that was athletic like Jordan but could shoot like Bird, would that have stood out as well?
How many wings do we have like that now? How many
I
wings?
I think the wing position is deeper than it was in the 90s.
Of course,
Right
I'm saying, how many wings do we have like now? How many wings do we have that in the prior generations? If we go back to our, just look at this picture. We look at the athletic player. Look at the millennials. Let's just take the millennials.
Look at the height of the players as you get to different eras. Like,
agreed.
They
got a lot of
shorter.
short guys.
Well, yeah, I agree.
Well, I won't even say short necessarily, but athletic.
They're more athletic. They're not centers. You have less
centers.
And that's where everything balances out. Yes, this argument is starting to bother me. Not from us, but just the viral part of it. Especially LeBron when he said what he just said. But yes, I can take players
that was hyperbole. He was
the day.
Yeah,
I can take players of the day and put them back then, and yes, they would dominate, no doubt. I can also take some of these bigs from back in the day, even from our list. Karl Malone will have a field day.
I don't even think you can say big. You can say anyone.
They can't match the physicality part and just getting to the bucket to make a basket. That part of the game has never changed. Can I touch the ball, 2 through 3 post moves, shoulder bump, turn around jumper? That part has never changed. So even I make fun of David Robinson. If you put David Robinson in today's landscape, as athletic as he was, he will average 35 easy, and that's not even bringing a sweat from the animal. It's just like no question.
I wouldn't want to say the same thing about. I won't say the same thing about Kevin McHale. You put him in this time frame, I give him access to better trainers, better shooters.
Well, that's the key.
And
I think it's so difficult to take a guy from a different era and just say he would do the same thing. But my thing is, and I thought somebody made a good point. I think it was Giannis who said, I mean, if you put me back there, I'm going to play similar to how they played. You know what I mean? Because that was how the game was played at the time. So it's just so hard to say.
And that's what Magic did, because when he came in, he was the tallest point guard. They didn't force him to play power forward because he was 6'10". They let him do what he was best at and play point guard, and he had an advantage over everyone else because he could see over every other point guard that was playing them. So,
but look at, and I'll say look at the Gen X. If you look at Gen X, I think that's when it really started to be like, that's it
for me.
But that's the everybody wanted to be like Mike, so that was a little.
That was what I'm saying. Everybody thought they could be.
The millennials was the result of people trying to be like Mike.
Yeah,
the millennials.
You don't think that was Gen X?
I think it was Gen X too.
Gen X still had
T-Mac, Vince.
Yeah,
right. I'm not knocking that, but listen to what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that, yes, technically you're right, but what I'm saying is that the Gen X you still valued bigs and stuff like that. You got a little bit of everything in that generation.
I don't think you value bigs.
I think Gen X is what started the problem, because the big men started to want to just shoot threes and stuff a lot. Before that,
I don't think
you didn't see the 3-pointer being as prevalent in the baby boomers. Gen X, all of a sudden, Dirk shooting from outside. Then C-Web want to be a 3-point shooter. Then Rasheed Wallace. I ain't saying Jordan. What I'm saying is the big man, the devaluing of the big man, to me, started because Shaq was so bigger than everybody that they couldn't. They had to find something else that they could do that was an X factor for them.
That's kind of what I was going to say. I'm going to say they didn't develop the big man. They just tried to find someone to guard Shaq. But it was not about developing them. It was, hey, I need you to take up these 6 fouls against him. I know you can't stop him, so I'm not going to develop you. I'm just going to let my guards and everyone else do work. I just need you to take fouls on him. And that's where that kind of developed,
but
where we don't have a Shaq, so we're going to pivot.
If you look at even the baby boomers, the centers for like great teams like those Bulls teams or like they just sometimes will just get a guy who get you some rebounds. You know, look at Dennis Rodman. He wasn't no scorer. You know what I mean? Like, I think you had prolific scores at center and at the big man position in the baby boomers that were dominant. But remember, it was a big thing during the 2000s when they was like, we ain't got no. Dwight Howard was like the only real center left in the league. You know what I mean? Like, who was like his contemporary? Yao Ming and Dwight Howard. You know what I mean? Like, the center position, because everybody wanted to be a wing. Everybody wanted to be either a small forward or a shooting guard. But that's why I just say it is like a transformation of the body types. And because what you grew up watching and what you see, you want to emulate. And I really thought that it was profound when someone said, like, a Wemby, look at Wemby's style of play. If Wemby was back in 1990, 1992, will he be playing the way he play right now?
That's called put on 30 pounds and get in the paint. That'd been it.
That man might turn into Greg Ostertag or something. Or what was that with George Marison?
You're wrong. You're wrong. Now, Wemby is just a modern day Ralph Sampson. Shout out to that Houston Rockets team that went to the finals. Ralph Sampson was supposed to be generational in his own right. He was 7'4", 230. Very similar to Wemby. So but people forget about him. So
Ralph Sampson wasn't shooting a whole lot of threes and stuff like that.
But he was very finesse based from a big perspective, right?
He wasn't
crazy like that. But he was pretty much all over the court. So that's what I say. Like, he's a better version of that. That's his prototype more than anybody else. In my opinion.
Okay. I remember watching Ralph Sampson, and I remember him, you know, the Twin Towers type gameplay. But it's cool.
It was probably one of the first major Twin Towers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. Let's get into a couple topics before we get out of here. Because once again, go ahead.
This is supposed to be a fight, right? I know you about to do the intro.
He's smiling.
But they look like they really tickling each other right now.
Yeah,
right?
your boy's smiling.
There's no fight. Go ahead.
And he getting ready for a shove. Yeah. So NBA suspends 5 players from the Pistons and Wolves scuffle. That's what it was. It was a scuffle, a kerfuffle. It wasn't no fight. Anyway, you saw Stewart was in the middle of it, like he tends to be. What did y'all think about this? And the discussion that's been going around about how this was good, and you know that the NBA needs to get some grit back, some toughness back. Calvin, what's your thoughts?
I have never seen an Isaiah Stewart highlight with anything involving basketball. Like him making a play, assist.
He's been playing pretty well, though.
I've not seen one highlight. Everything I've seen from him is starting a fight or getting in the fight or trying to end the fight. Look, somebody's got to take. Look, just take one for the team. Take him out.
Dang, you hate that nigga?
Not take him out like that. Not take him out like that. I'm just saying, just get him ejected. Because he has no basketball relevance. He's just out there trying to be an enforcer. Well, if you like that, then that's fine. And this Detroit team is scrapping. They've been playing well, but every time I see something with Detroit, it's him in the middle, and it ain't basketball related. Like, let me see your talent shine. That's all I got.
Okay. Justin?
It definitely wasn't Malice in the Palace Part 2.
It did spill into the fans a little bit, though, which...
I hate that they look. That should be a one-off thing, unless somebody deck a fan, and that's what that level is. Besides that, anything else is just not that. Shout out to my man Dante. You know, I still got love for him from on the New York side of things, but I mean, he held his own against some other people that don't look like him. I know he was like, "Yo, please get me up out of here," but you know, it was a scuffle, man. As to your original point, I apologize. Is this good for the league? Nah, a little bit, because you know you got to fight back that soft tag that you're getting so much, right? You know, so anything on the scruffle side, on the physical side, or even a hard foul, I would say is better for the leagues, because it gets away from some of the negative talk that you hear.
Okay. Real quick, Memphis, what a surprising move. Fired Taylor Jenkins this past week. Wow, came out of nowhere. They're in playoff contention. He's led them winning records. Really interesting. Calvin, what's your thoughts on that?
I don't understand this. I think there'll be more to come out. But one thing I didn't realize was they fired his entire they being general manager fired his entire assistant coaches over the summer last year. So at that point, the writing had to be on the wall. If they're firing your assistant coaches, but they left you, so you have to rebuild your entire staff, not with the guys that you wanted, the guys that you went to war with each and every night. You have these new guys because they decided to get rid of your entire staff. And I don't know if anyone deserves with 9 games to go, because what do you hope to accomplish? You're sitting as you're a 4 or 5 seed. Now, granted, they've had their struggles against winning teams. I think they're 11-22 against teams over 500. But you're in the thick of things in the West, and you fire your coach to do what? What does this accomplish? So it either this was a job thing, which I don't believe it was, or you're going to rebuild and get rid of job over the summer, which I think this is what's going to be about, because you're not happy with the way things have gone over the last 3 or 4 years with Taylor Jenkins and with John Morant.
Justin,
I think that's a pretty ballsy move to say that part of it. I mean, Dallas got rid of Luka, so I'm about to say I don't think they're gonna get rid of job, but Dallas got rid of Luka. So I guess anything's on the table at that point. But the rumors I heard that Ja was not happy with him. So maybe this is one of the things.
I thought he didn't say that. I thought he said that wasn't true. That's the only reason.
Well, he might have told somebody. Somebody had said something. So as a result of that, I'm saying that it's not true. but it could be true. I think it's more so that we'll see. But I think it's definitely late into the season. I mean, why wait until right before you go into the playoffs? Like, what?
Crazy.
It doesn't have any significant value at this particular point in time, other than chaos that's going to come from. Unless one of the assistant coaches that we don't know about, I know one of them is getting promoted as interim, is really that dude, behind the scenes. Like, he's been the one kind of coaching the team. Like, coach called, hey, yo, 1-4 flat. Hey man, don't do that. Don't do that. When you get the ball, go that way with it. Unless he was kind of like hustling like that, then that makes sense. But we don't know until till the playoff comes.
Yeah. All right. Speaking of playoffs, we getting down to the nitty gritty. I think
2 weeks.
Just about that. I know some teams have about 8 games left, something of that nature. Very interesting. The East is still, right there. Honestly, not that big of a gap. There is within shot for Boston. They could close that gap a little bit, making it interesting down the stretch. Portland. The OKC Thunder. I think that's all locked up. No way. The Rockets lost last night to the Lakers, so that was interesting. So that 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, they all bunched up right there. So a couple games here or there. Really nice. This will all be different, you know what I mean? So the seeding is going to be very interesting. It will be interesting to see who avoids that 4-5 matchup, who wants to get in that 3 spot. I think that's going to be interesting to see. Golden State and LA could possibly match up 4-5 if that's comes to be. That's going to be interesting to keep an eye on. The Eastern Conference, to me, Detroit, Indiana, that could be an interesting first round matchup. Probably most likely, in my opinion. Detroit has been scrappy here lately. We'll see what happens with these suspensions. Does that cause them to have any slippage or anything of that nature? That play-in spot in West should be fun as well. Clippers have been coming on pretty strong here lately. James Harden is playing pretty well. Calvin, what's the storyline you're looking at right now the most?
Got a couple of them. Like, what happens? Like, I don't know if the Knicks want to play Milwaukee in that first round, even with no Dame Lillard. I think that would be interesting. Even though I think Milwaukee catches Detroit, and they flip-flop at those 5 and 6 seeds. Phoenix lost tonight, so they fall 1 game further back. They lost to Milwaukee with no Dame as well, so Phoenix just continues their slide.
No KD, right?
I don't think KD played either. In the West, those 2 through 6 seeds would be interesting. I don't know. I think everybody wants to be 2 or 3. However, I don't think they want to play Golden State in the first round, because I think Golden State can beat Houston or Denver in the first round. So I think it's some jockeying. It's for positioning. I want to be 2-3 because I want to avoid OKC in the second round, but I also don't want to play Golden State. I think Golden State can get to 5, but does Golden State want to play OKC in the second round? So I think there'll be some jockeying for position in those 2 through 6 seeds. But, you've gotten Minnesota that's 1 game behind, so you really can't play around with your win-loss record. So it'll be interesting the next couple of weeks.
Justin, what you looking at?
You say next couple of weeks. It's literally like 2 weeks left.
Yeah.
If that. The East is pretty much we're gonna get who we're gonna get, even from the top 10. So the play-in is slightly important. I'm looking at Orlando to get the 7th seed, and then so we got Boston versus Orlando. I think that's a great first round matchup. I do definitely got Boston taking it, but I think Orlando once again will let some people know how they feel about everything. I'm not really worried about who the Knicks end up playing against. I'm honestly not. I'm not worried about Detroit, and I'm not worried about Milwaukee with Dame out. I don't even think it's gonna be close. I think Giannis will get you 1, but it's not going past 6. Jalen is pretty much good to go. I think he's just kind of coasting it for the last few games of the season until he comes back. We're going to be ready for now, especially with Mitchell Robinson. Hopefully he don't get freaking hurt. But that's it right there. And we'll see where we at after we move on to the second and hopefully third and fourth round. Going to the Western Conference, is I think that's all over the place. I want to say this. If Kevin Durant doesn't make it to the playoffs and gets kicked out after getting swept last year and then getting swept 2 years before that in Brooklyn, it's like, is this how Kevin Durant's like phasing out? Like, we're witnessing the phase out of Kevin Durant when his 2 counterparts are actively in the playoff chase right now. You see the resurgence from LeBron James. You see the resurgence from Steph Curry once Jimmy got there. It's like, well, damn, Kevin, you got Devin Booker. Like, what's going on with D Book? Do we look at D Book the same way? Like, you can't make this team go to the playoffs. So it's a lot of things with Phoenix right now. But I think 9 and 10 seeds. I got AD playing. He'll play a few more games. I think they're gonna shut him down. This is just a waste of a playoffs if they get it. But I think the Clippers and the Minnesota, I think they're gonna be 7 and 8 respectfully. And we'll see. We'll see. I think 1 through 8, all those are exciting matchups depending on where they're at. I can't say that one team is definitely better than the other. I will have to see how it plays out, but we'll get those predictions when that time comes.
One team I'm keeping my eye on, they've had some big victories the last few weeks and had some outstanding guard play as well. And that's the Chicago Bulls, man. If the Bulls make some noise in that play-in, man, that's a tough out, man. I think that team,
they might get 8.
That team is tough. That's a tough team. So watch out for the Bulls in that play-in. So if they can get a couple more wins here or there, they can get themselves in a good spot. And something to watch out for. Players of the week last week for the Western Conference, Jalen Green averaging almost 29 points a game. In the Eastern Conference, Paolo averaged 30 a game. Phenomenal performances by both gentlemen. Orlando looking to make a push for that playoff spot in the East. Should be interesting to keep tracking that. Then we get to the Los Angeles Lakers. They've had a tumultuous few weeks here lately. But we saw them get a big victory last night over the Houston Rockets. Again, is this team a team that you're going to put your money on? I don't know. But Calvin, give me your Lakers report.
Look, this team has a problem with their play in the middle. Now, granted, they've gotten better and they're getting healthier at the right time. However, I think the worst possible matchup for them is OKC, which you can say for a lot of teams in the West because of how big they are with Chet and Hartenstein in the middle position, with how deep they are in the wing position. With you can just go list the names that they have. However, but I think at any point in time in any other series, they arguably have 2 of the best players in the series. I think that's what makes them scary. In a series in which you're going to get rest, you're not playing any more back-to-backs. You're playing every other day. You can rest your play. You can rest your 2 stars. They are dangerous. However, it's just that one team. So if you're betting on them, it depends on seeding as well. This is why they want to get out of that 4 or 5 range and want to get back to the 3, so they can potentially push off the OKC matchup for as long as possible. I don't think they fear any other team besides OKC. We've seen them beat Denver twice without AD and with Luka. That just spells a difficult matchup for them, because you can make the argument that Jokic is the best player on the court. It's Luka in those 2 circumstances. So it depends on matchups, like it does for a lot of teams in the West. I can see them losing the first round. I can see them making the Western Conference Finals. I think it all depends on matchups, and I think it depends on if they can get to the playoffs healthy. When you get the playoffs healthy and you get them in shape and playing every other day and not any more back-to-backs and not more 3 and 4 nights, things like that, then they could be a dangerous team.
What you think, Justin?
I don't know. Y'all so confident. You guys are so confident about Denver this year. Like Jamal Murray doesn't take it up to a whole nother level in the playoffs, and you have to counter everything when they're pretty much all healthy now. Right now, that's a tough. That's to me, that's a tough out. Are y'all possibly better than Houston? Yeah. Whatever Houston ends
I think everyone wants to play Houston, Golden State, the Lakers, Denver. Everyone wants to play.
I think they want to play Memphis.
I think Memphis is the easy out. I think Memphis will be the easy out. Clearly, they're going through the things that we just talked about, but is Luka the best player pretty much in every series? Yeah, arguably, yeah. Is LeBron that dude? Yeah. But if they don't work this defensive thing out, they got some issues. They have to be
90 to Houston,
and if they're not, then we'll see what's going on. But the harder opponent, I think the Lakers should probably want to give it in the first round if they can. Mm-hmm. You're going to need hell of energy on both sides of the court, and that's the thing. We already know that's Luka's Achilles heel, is playing both sides of the court for an extended period of time. Yes. Jaylen Brown might put out that blueprint to say, like, this is how you guard Luka. Just full court, 90% of the time, weigh him down. And the problem is, if you do that to the other guy too, the other guy's 40 plus. Like he got a shorter tank now versus what he used to have. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. But I would just love to get it out the way. I would love to see a Lakers Golden State first round just to get it out the way. I would love it.
I agree with that. All right. Let's talk about some Final Four basketball. So before we get into that, so Kevin Willard, decided to make the decision.
I'm out of here.
The University of Maryland and go on and join Villanova. This was probably one of the worst kept secrets. I've been hearing about this for weeks. That no matter what happened at the end of this tournament run, he was possibly out. We know Maryland hasn't had an AD. They had a lot of issues when they did have an AD before. A beef between Lockley and Willard over whether Maryland was a football school, a basketball school, what the type of resources they were given to the basketball team. We know his recruiting. He wanted to do a lot more, throw some more money out there because of the NIL. You got to entice these players to want to come. And the university wasn't trying to commit a lot of the resources to the basketball program, which frustrated him. So even though the team made it all the way to the Sweet 16, had another good year, recruited a Derek Queen, pulled out some good fanfare and some goodwill with the public, he decided it was time to go. It was just life was getting a little too tough for him, and Villanova willing to spend the money, willing to put everything into it, more of a basketball school. He made a decision that was best for him and his career. Calvin, what's your thoughts on Kevin Willard deciding to leave the University of Maryland?
I may go on a small little rant here, so I apologize. I blame Maryland. I blame Maryland. When you have a head coach that's and let me say this first. Everything that he asked for, if they gave it to him, he still left. I don't know if I'm upset with him as well. When you have a head coach that says this is what I need to run this program, I had beef with his AD because they prefer football, or that's how the school prefers it.
The university
thinks, well, before he left, The university thinks that they're a football school, and that's why they left the ACC to go to the Big Ten. And you prefer a coach that is 10-40 in Big Ten play over his tenure, over a coach that took your team to his first Sweet 16 in 10 years, and you still want to claim that you're a football school when you have never won a football school. So based off everything that you've done, I expect a college football appearance from Maryland, because you want to be a football school, you're putting your money in football, then go get the players with the NIL. If not, you're proving you're wasting your time, you're wasting your money, you're wasting your resources when you should be a basketball school. As we always see what happens this year when you actually put the funds behind the players and you get a decent basketball program and you go 28-6, 28-8, whatever they went in the regular season, and you make the Sweet 16, and you're talked about nationally because you have a freshman that's hitting game-winning shots, and you're bringing prestige and notoriety back to the program. But no, you want to play this football game and go out because of spring football, not get any recruits. Kevin Willard was recruiting in this area. The DMV is rich with basketball talent, and there's no reason why they escape so much when you have a powerhouse, what could be a powerhouse in Maryland in your own backyard. But you want to be a football school, you think that's what brings in money, you think that's what brings in prestige, and you value a coach that went 10-40. Now, if you want to say that's because he doesn't have any recruits, he has the damn money to go get the recruits. So don't give me that shit that he doesn't have the resources. When you're valuing the money, you're putting NIL there. I don't blame Kevin Willard in one bit. If you want to go to Villanova, which we've seen what they've done with their basketball school over the last 5 years. They won title 2003 years, just 5, 6, 7 years ago with Jalen Brunson and Josh Hart and those guys. That's what happens when you put your resources behind the basketball program and you ride that program. Not what Maryland is doing, trying to split the baby and want to be a football school and think that they are a football school. This started when they left the ACC for the Big Ten. Yeah. It's continuing now. It's why Maryland will not win either football or basketball, because they don't know how to run either. And this is why you will not get to the prestige, the players in your own backyard to come to Maryland. It is no reason for the talent in the DMV to escape Maryland each and every year because you don't know how to run your program and you want to be something you're not. It starts at the top. I blame Maryland. I don't blame Kevin Willard. Had much success in Villanova. And I hope every coach that had success here and they run out and they go somewhere else and lead that program to more success, I hope it happens, because Maryland doesn't deserve shit until they realize that they're a basketball school, and that's where they bred their butter.
100%. I've been a Maryland fan my whole life. I never recall a football team. Ralph Friesen had a couple good years, but that was what? Bowl appearance. He won an ACC. I went to an Orange Bowl one time.
He got the doors blown off of him.
Like, come on, man. Go back even further. You tell me another time that Maryland, the University of Maryland, we produce some good talent. We got some good players, but we're talking about championships, contention. Basketball has been, man, we can go back. Like, what are we talking about, man? Like, what are we talking about? For real. Steve Francis. Like, come on, man. DeJuan Dixon and them boys. Steve, like Drew Nicholas. Like, come on, Gilchrist. Like, we had players and teams at Maryland. Gary Williams, man. Let me stop. Lefty, just come on, man. Go ahead, Justin.
First and foremost, y'all need to breathe again. Shout out to Tony Braxton, also from Maryland. This is what happens, man. I'm looking, and I recall, right? I was driving, and I heard the press conference when they brought out Kevin Willard, like the first time when he making this, the introduction, and we're gonna do this, and we're gonna do that, and don't worry about anything. I mean, it was the most comforting type of press conference you have ever heard. Like, they literally was giving him the keys to everything, and then they said, "Nah, we're not gonna do that. You're on your own," and he went somewhere else. It sucks because I'm a Duke fan, as we know, but you still want the hometown talent to kind of be successful. Like, I still want Maryland to be successful, especially when they're not in the ACC. I want them to be successful. It frustrates me when I see Michael Beasley go to Kansas State. It frustrates me when Kevin Durant leaks out to Texas. It's frustrating when Rudy Gay goes to UConn.
And Texas wasn't even a basketball school. Go ahead.
So what is happening, right? So when Gary Williams, he had that program in which, as a Duke fan, I hated you guys because y'all was just that good,
always competing,
and then it just goes to the wayside. Okay, all right, we're gonna reshuffle that. You got a guy from Baltimore that put Baltimore on a map with one quote, with a game winner and a quote.
And can't even follow up.
Why would he stay? Like, he was already going. We get that, but why? Even if he had a thought process of, I could run it back. I get this NIL money. The money gives you just that pause to say, I might can go one more year. Who knows? I might be number 1 overall pick next year. That kind of thing. That thought process is gone. It's gone when you have this type of leadership that's just leading you to frustrating nights every single night. So I feel sorry for the kid. I know, like I said, I know he's gone, but even the number 1 recruit that y'all was getting this year, he said, I'm going somewhere else. I'm resending that.
You know what's crazy? It's 2 kids in Baltimore City right now. One go to City, one goes to Edmondson. Nationally recruited. One's going to Texas A&M, and I forgot what other kid's going to go. I'm trying to find out right now.
Well,
I don't even know if they have Maryland in their top 5.
Well. Speaking of that, they just hired Buzz Williams, who was the head coach at Texas A&M. Right. Mm-hmm. Right.
You trying to follow that? Yeah?
So right. So there is a good chance that he won't be going to Texas A&M anymore.
We'll see.
He might be coming to Maryland. Now that's something I just heard today because it just happened today, of course.
Yeah.
But Buzz Williams got hired, which is a phenomenal coach. Look, this guy has won everywhere he's been, and hats off. This is a hell of a hire. I'm not even gonna lie. Look, Kevin Willett, we all know what he did at Maryland. Again, Buzz, he one of those guys. He comes in, he gets it done. He's won everywhere he's been. Phenomenal resume. We'll see. He hell of a recruiter, they say, too. So, again, like you say.
But can he recruit in the DMV?
You just now said.
He went to Virginia Tech. He went to Virginia Tech. He coached at Virginia Tech. So
you just now said one of the top recruits from Baltimore, committed to the school he was just at. And he just left there. See. So, can he recruit the DMV? Well, he just did it. So, we'll see if he can still draw those people. But right now, he's starting with an empty slate because everybody decommitted from Maryland. Everybody.
They're going to Villanova, most likely.
The transfer portal opened up, and everybody said, we out. I mean, I follow that Maryland account on Facebook, and it felt like every 5 minutes somebody was saying, this person is entering the transfer portal. This person is decommitted. I'm like, damn, are we going to have anybody left? But you can look at the administration. I agree with you. Your rant, everything you said was 100% perfect. And again, I'm going to root for Maryland regardless, even though I hate the decision they made just out of, it'd be like the Ravens did some stupid stuff, but they're a professional football team. When it comes to college, I'm more lenient on these things, but I understand the difficulties of this NIL deal money and the transfer portal. It creates a whole different obstacle. So it is going to be harder for some of these. And Maryland is not a mid-major. Maryland it should be a major university when it comes to basketball. We have a tradition of winning. But like you say, this all started when they decided to leave the ACC and go to the Big Ten, which is a football conference that is now turned into a basketball juggernaut as well, because they got a lot of good basketball teams too. And Maryland is good at basketball, but can't hold up his end in football. But anyway, shout out and good luck to Buzz Williams. I think it's a hell of a hire, and we'll see how it works out. Final Four coming up. You got the 4 number 1 seeds. First time that's happened in a while. So Auburn and Florida will match up. And you got Houston and Duke, which is going to be a huge matchup. In my bracket, I did have all 4 of these teams making it to the Final Four on one of them. And the other one, I had Michigan State pulling the upset, and they didn't pull it off.
I had Maryland beating Florida.
I had Maryland on one of them. I had to fill out 2 brackets. On one of my brackets, I had this, and other one I had Michigan State and Maryland pulling upsets. But Cooper Flag going up against Houston. Man, To me, that's a national title game. So this is going to be fun. This is going to be fun. Of course, Florida number one overall seed.
That's Auburn.
Auburn, excuse me. Yeah, but Auburn has been tested, so they're not invincible. Florida, we've seen them look good. They smoked Maryland last week. This is going to be fun. Calvin, how do you see this going down? Who's winning these two individual matchups, and who's your national champ?
Yeah, I got Duke and Auburn winning. I think Auburn's experienced. And I think Duke is just, they got that big kid at center too, and I think Duke is deeper with talent than any other team. I didn't realize Master P's son was on Houston's roster either.
Yeah. He did an interview not that long ago.
Yeah. Right. So, but I got Auburn and Duke in a championship game on Monday night, and I have Auburn winning. I just think they have experience, and Duke is a little. I don't know if it gets tight. I think we kind of revert back to the Duke team we saw early in the year. But I think Duke Houston is a very good matchup.
It's a huge matchup.
I'm Florida showed me something against Maryland, but I think Florida is just deep. I don't know if they really have the talent. They just go 10 deep and they could just run up and down the court because they're putting out so many players. But each of these four teams deserve it. But I got Duke and Auburn on Monday night. I got Auburn coming out as the winner.
Who you got, Justin?
Who you got playing Duke? Let me just say that.
I was not big on Florida the whole entire thing, and they should have lost a couple rounds ago. But I'm going to go for Auburn as well, with Duke taking the league, winning the whole thing. It's just written, man, and we're just watching them play out. Cooper Flagg didn't have the best game against Alabama. They locked them up, and everybody else went off. Like that's what I wanted. Is I was waiting for that game where as though it might be too much for Cooper. Cooper might have had a bad day. Who knows? Hopefully he bounced back. I expect him to bounce back. I wanted to see if Proctor can still shoot. I wanted to see if we can rebound with the best on, play defense, do everything as though we needed to do. And we did exactly that. And we blew Alabama out. That's what I wanted to see. Show me a time when Cooper has stress, when Cooper is not that guy, and then I'll show you a time which we still win. And that's what I saw. And before that, when we was down and we was out the round before that, Cooper Flagg went on a damn near 10-15-0 run by himself. So that's what I'm. It's multiple angles that this Duke team can come at you, and it's just overwhelming for a lot of teams. So we'll see what Houston can do. But anything less than a championship, like I said, I have high standards for Duke, and Cooper Flagg is definitely being one of my top 5. Well, hopefully he can finish the deal.
You know, I had high hopes for Houston. I had them going all the way to this Final Four, of course. But that Purdue game, that was touch and go. That was touch and go, champ. And again, Florida, that was touch and go 2 games ago against UConn. Man, Auburn, the way they beat Michigan down.
Yeah.
And they just look strong to me. And Duke, again, a great point about Cooper being shut down by Bama. But I think that matchup is more in line with what we're going to see. Duke and Auburn, even though Houston bounced back last week, I just think that it left a bad taste in my mouth because Purdue should have beat them. I'm going with Duke to win the national title on Monday night. So that's where I'm rolling. It is what it is.
I'm sounding so sad when you say that. This is a joyous occasion.
Before we get out of here, the road to WrestleMania is still winding down. They finally picked it up a little bit. Cody and John Cena went head-to-head in a hell of a debate back and forth for 3rd week in a row. But at least this time they actually had some content. And in the end, Cody laid out John Cena. We know Cena's going to be off TV for a week or 2. So I'm sure he'll show up at some point and get his lick back before Mania kicks off. But I thought they did a good job to try to save this angle because honestly, I was getting bored. The last week's face-to-face kind of was whack to me, but this one I think turned things around and the content was good. I love the line about I make billionaires and you just take money from their sons. I like that one.
Yeah.
I like the line about when he talked about you needing one thing they never chanted at me is you can't wrestle. That was a good one. That was a good one. I thought overall, and I think the physicality, because like we talked about, this man whooped your ass. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Travis Scott and them, they beat you down. At what point do you go out there and act like it matters?
Yeah.
So I thought that was good. Justin, what did you think about the angle, and what do you think about the build to Mania for this match?
It's still leaving a lot for me out there. One Crossroads and Cena's supposed to be out. That who the hell would believe that?
He oversold it. He oversold it.
You know, that was a little too much. I agree with the truth telling that they were giving out a little bit. I thought he buried Cody at first. I was like, oh, I don't know if Cody can come. And, you know, Cody stood on his own, and I respect that. But I was talking to my man King the other day, and it was just like, yo, why are we supposed to believe a dude that come out with a suit every week that he's a fighting champion? Like, yo, like you're not ready to fight, bro. Like you're just not.
I mean, Ric Flair was like that. Like,
you hate Cody.
Ric Flair was not. At least Ric Flair came out there with the. He was ready to unbutton a little bit. Jesus, it's nothing Cody does.
You hate Cody.
That stands out. I hope this is a Saturday night closeout. I hope that the Roman fight is Sunday night.
It's Sunday night.
It's Sunday night.
I know it's
Sunday night.
I have issues, and I hope John kick his ass.
Cena won the title. Cena won the title.
Yeah.
So, you know, and I hope it's fair and square too. I don't want any issues. I hope it's
fair
clean.
and square.
You know,
you know they're gonna be fair. You know it ain't fair and square. It's something happening.
I hope it's fair and square too. I love that. What you think, Calvin?
It's improving. I don't know if I like the Europe tour being the road to WrestleMania.
It's normally afterwards.
Yeah.
I think they changed it.
I mean, they did it because Cena was over there and made it easier for him. So that's why they did it. But it takes away something a little bit because I'm seeing snippets of it before it actually, you know. Oh, I could watch it live, but I'm not focused on it at that point in time. So that's my only issue. I'm kind of feeling for Jay how they just took him out of that main event spot. I don't necessarily agree with it, but
that's fine.
He was never getting the main event, dog.
I was hoping. I
thought
in this Paul Heyman angle too.
I thought they did a hell of a job on Monday putting some heat to that angle because that was getting stale.
About time
to have him handcuffed and Gunther blade him up and he gig him and you know they mean business when you see blood in WWE because they rarely bleed. Yeah. And I thought it did a good job to really
make sure they did it on Netflix.
Yeah, they tortured Jimmy and they made the emotion there. Because remember, if you go back, one of the most impactful storylines they did or scenarios they did was when Roman, to make Roman a real heel, was when he beat up Jay and Jimmy. Yeah. Remember that?
Yeah.
And choked him out and made him declare that he was the tribal chief and bow down. And they kind of did a little flashback to that. So I did like that. And it really unlocked Ruthless Gunther. And we needed that. Because this was getting stale. Every week, same thing. Gunther just sneaking up from behind, choking him out. 1 week, he might duck out of it as a fluke. You can't do that for 8 weeks, man. If it was a short build, maybe 3 weeks to a pay-per-view, fine. But this is what they need. Now you need to keep them apart for maybe 2 weeks and then pay it off at the pay-per-view. But this was never going to be the main event. But you need to open the show, WrestleMania weekend. Crowd is hot, and they going out there eating. That's going to be a hell of a visual in that stadium. That's going to be cool. But I thought they did a hell of a job trying to get some heat back on their two main events. What are y'all thoughts on Roman, CM Punk, and Seth Rollins and that whole scenario from the other night on SmackDown?
So I thoroughly enjoyed every second of it. My thing is, I know we were over on time. I've been trying to get, and I call it is Roman versus Joe. Joe is great. Joe is the person that to me brought me back to wrestling. It's the ad libs, the promos, everything like that. When Joe was being Joe, is great. He went through the stretch of just being Roman when he was just silent, not saying nothing, and all this other stuff. And they're bringing him down to promote everybody else. I get that, but at the end of the day, like that's the Roman that I love now. Is just the off script Roman. So we got that. He was sitting down and Seth was talking to him, and he was just being him. I was like, yes. And then they had the CM Punk angle, in which Heyman told him, "You closing the show." And I think that whole segment was 100%
legit.
I think he did tear up. He did think you gotta thank Roman because this revolves around Roman. Yes, he did think he threw the big dog out there, like still the big dog, not big dog. Okay, cool. Which Roman cannot stand, and it was beautiful. And then I think Seth is really crashing out a little bit. I think Seth really has an issue with CM Punk, and I think he's crashing out a little bit. So I think that's real as well too. So they're blending a lot of things right now, and it's finally paying off. It took a while to get here.
To pull the curtain back a little bit, they are cooler than you think. But go ahead.
I'm saying I agree with everything you said. It still feels like to me Seth Rollins is the third wheel.
I don't think so. I don't think so. I think he actually is the glue of the story because really, there is no story between Roman and Punk. The story
it's only the Heyman angle, which I would have wanted to build up more, but then there's Seth Rollins who's there.
Rollins is the story. That's the story. Go back to the Shield. Remember, a lot of this got something to do with Seth. I really think they've done a great job of that aspect because the Punk and Seth feud the whole last year. The Roman and Seth thing kind of shoehorned itself in, but they got enough history where it makes sense because you know about the Shield. You know about Punk was supposed to be the leader of the Shield and all of that is stuff
which they really haven't even focused on.
That's part of what they can still pull out. That was Punk's group. He named the group, and they ended up giving it to Roman because remember it was supposed to be Dean Ambrose, who was known on the Indies as a hell of a worker and everything like that. Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns, but CM Punk was supposed to be the leader. They wanted to emphasize that Roman was going to be the next guy, so they let Ambrose be the mouthpiece of the group. Rollins didn't even talk, if you recall, early on in the Shield. So Ambrose did all the talking. And Punk was like the other guy. He was like, okay, I'll stand on my own. And that's when he created that society. Remember, his head was, and he had the long beard and he wore the mask and all that. Yeah. That was fun time in wrestling too. Yeah. But anyway, I think there's some stuff they could play off of. We've gone over our time. We appreciate everybody checking us out tonight. This was a fun show. Anytime we're talking about basketball lists, it's going to take a lot more time. We got one more. Next week, we'll talk about the silent era of basketball. Now, to be completely honest, I don't think it'll be as long as these debates because while we've seen many of these guys, we didn't see them day to day. We weren't able to watch them week in and week out. There was no Sports Center watching their highlights over and over and over. So some of these guys are more off reputation.
There's no record of getting 100 points.
Yeah. So again, much like, how uneducated some people are about Kevin McHale and things of that nature, that's some of the things that will be replicated next week when we're talking about these guys from the solid era. So don't be disrespected if you are a fan of certain guys from that particular time point and we have them lower than what you remember from what you were watching. Hey, you got us. But we're going to do our best to do our
research.
Throw
it in the comments.
And be ready to speak educated about it, even though some people spoke very uneducated on some of the people from this era, like putting Patrick Ewing over Dave Robinson. But hey, we move. Thank you for joining us tonight, and we'll see you next week.
Second show he took at you.
For Calvin, Justin, I'm Larry. We'll see you next week for another edition. Get off the damn fence. Holla.